Why everyone hates Nas Daily. Nas, you're the only person who says you are sad but yet still smiling. What makes me go crazy is that people still defend Nas. If this guy made a video about you, I'm sorry but you're probably going to jail. Nasir Yassin's 1-minute daily videos featuring stories from around the world, showcasing different cultures, people and places, has earned him 13.5 million subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views on each upload, and a career many would only dream of. But even if everything appears to be in order, numerous people have come forward and accused him of fraud. In this video, we will be looking on how he became one of the most subscribed travel and storytelling YouTubers, and many controversies that led his audience to turn on him. Nasir Yassin, originally from Israel, left a lucrative job at Venmo to pursue his dream of traveling and storytelling. In 2016, he embarked on a mission to create daily 1-minute videos for 1,000 days. This ambitious goal was driven by his desire to document his experiences and share interesting stories from his travels. Starting on April 9, 2016, Nasir Yassin uploaded his first video on his Facebook page, Nas Daily, marking the start of his 1,000-day challenge. As he continued to post daily, the page quickly gained traction, thanks to his storytelling and diverse cultural insights that resonated with millions. By the end of his 1,000-day journey in January 2019, Nas Daily had already amassed a substantial following of 12 million on Facebook.
10 minutes ago, I cried. I cried because today is an emotional day. It marks the end of a 1,000-day journey from around the world.
However, his journey as a content creator began even earlier. On November 5, 2012, he uploaded his first video on YouTube, where he and his Harvard friends sent a hamburger into space, sponsored by a local hamburger joint. The video was a hit, as was his second upload, The World is Cube, solving a Rubik's Cube around the world, which garnered 1.2 million views. While Nasir had been occasionally uploading videos on YouTube since 2012, it wasn't until after completing his 1,000-day Facebook challenge that he began focusing more seriously on the platform. Leveraging his existing fanbase, he likely encouraged his Facebook followers to also check out his YouTube channel. In the year 2019, every video he uploaded on YouTube was getting millions of views, with some even reaching the 10 million mark. The channel was at its peak and growing rapidly. However, everything took a dark turn when accusations of exploitation, misrepresentation, and cultural insensitivity were made against Nas Daily, and it all began with one single video. On the 16th of July of 2021, Nas uploaded a video titled World's Oldest Tattoo Artist, featuring a 103-year-old woman from the Philippines named Wang Od, who specializes in creating tattoos without the use of any machines, but creating her own ink using charcoal and water, and uses thorns from trees as a needle. The video was a hit, garnering over 1.1 million views and thousands of likes. Viewers were mesmerized by Wang Od's dedication and the unique cultural heritage she represented. The video was praised for bringing attention to such a fascinating and traditional craft. But the problem started from here. In the video's description, Nas Daily announced that Wang Od was now officially teaching on Nas Academy, a platform aimed at providing educational content from experts around the world. He included a link to Nas Academy, inviting viewers to learn tattooing techniques directly from Wang Od herself. However, the story took an unexpected turn. The grandniece of Wang Od came forward on Facebook and announced, "Warning, Wang Od Academy is a scam. My grandmother did not sign any contract with Nas Daily to do any academy. Some people are taking advantage of our culture. Please help us stop this disrespect to the legacy of Apo Wang Od and the Butbut tribe." In response to these allegations, Yassin shared a video showing the 104-year-old signing a document with her thumbprint, which appeared to be evidence that she gave permission to establish the Wang Od Academy. He said, "We approached Wang Od because just like you, we love her. We love her traditions and are inspired by her. We pitched her family the idea of creating Wang Od Academy. She and her present family both love this idea and have worked with us to build it, with Wang Od teaching herself. As a matter of fact, Wang Od's trusted niece, Estela Palangdao, was present and translated the content of the contract prior to Wang Od fixing her thumbprint, signifying her full consent to the project. Everybody was compensated for their time, and for every sale the Wang Od Academy generates, most of it went directly to her and her family. We just provided the technology and the marketing. The controversy worsened as a result of Nas Daily's foolish remark. He said 40% of Nas Academy is made up of Filipinos. So for us, this is personal. This was meant to show support, but many people saw it as an insensitive way to avoid the real issue. Him saying, I have 40% Filipino in my company, is basically him saying, I go to church so I'm automatically a good guy. Lemafao. As the backlash grew, Wang Od's granddaughter, Gracia Palicas, further discredited Nas Daily. She refuted his claims, stating, I spoke to her and she said she did not understand what the translator was saying. I'm sorry to tell you she will not be joining the Nas Daily. I know you have good intentions of sharing our culture to the next generation. However, our village concern is that some people are profiting and exploiting our art and culture. I know you spoke to someone and gave some money and will share profits, but Apu Wang Od is not aware of the contract. Hope you sort this out. After all, hashtag unfollow Nas Daily started trending and he lost about 500,000 followers in only 3 days on his FB page. The National Commission on Indigenous People, or NCIP, the government body dedicated to safeguarding the rights of indigenous people in the Philippines, launched an investigation after becoming aware of the issue. Their findings revealed that the ancient art of tattooing practiced by the Kalinga tribe is a collective cultural property requiring the consent of the entire community, not just Wang Od. Unfortunately, Nas Daily was unaware of the indigenous tribe rules in the Philippines, a mistake on his part. Given his influence over 50 million followers at that time, Nas Daily needed to address the misunderstanding. He dispatched a team to Wang Od's village to resolve the situation, drafting a new contract that incorporated her family's demands. This effort to make amends was commendable. Now, both parties are satisfied and at peace, having reached a mutual understanding. This wasn't the first time that Nas found himself in the middle of a controversy. Luis Mabulo, a Filipino farmer and businesswoman, accused him of taking advantage of her culture. Luis is the creator behind the Cacao Project, an initiative dedicated to fighting deforestation by empowering farmers. On August 5, 2021, she broke her silence on Facebook, sharing her side of the story about Nas Daily's visit to her town to cover the Cacao Project. She said that the influencer criticized farmers of not being clickable, viewable content, made fun of the regional dialect, and referred to Filipinos as poor. She said, I watched him imitate and mock the local accent and language, vocalizing Tagalog-sounding syllabic phrases, saying it sounded stupid. He repeatedly said that the people of my hometown, poor. Farmers are so poor. Why are Filipinos so poor? He said no one wants to hear about farmers or farms. It's not clickable, viewable content. He didn't care about making change or shedding light on real issues. He only wanted content, a good, easy story to tell that would get him more Filipino views. He even joked at the start of the day that all he needed was to put Philippines in the title and he'd rack millions of views and the comments would come flooding with brainless Pinoy pride comments. The post quickly went viral, fueling the accusations against Nas. In response, Nas claimed that the Cacao Project was not true on the ground and denied the allegations of discrimination.
Fake story in the Philippines, which is the Cacao Project. On paper, it was supposed to be a non-profit that helps farmers. In reality, it's a for-profit that exploits farmers.
Once we arrived at your plantation, once we saw the village and talked to the farmers, we came to the conclusion that there is no story here, that the awards on the internet are just that, awards, he stated. And well-known YouTuber Project Nightfall, who regularly collaborated with Nas Daily, also took to the internet to clarify what actually happened. He asserted in his video that the online reports about the Cacao Project were all fake.
Whew.
Hello Philippines. I'm recording this video because it makes me sad that there are people out there who right now lost their respect for me for something I'm not even a part of. I was there. The moment we left her plantation, we started facing a lot of problems. Her program was meant to help farmers grow cocoa trees instead of coconut trees so they can make more money.
As they arrived at Luis's cacao farm, they were struck by its beauty. The trees were full of life, showing how well Luis tended to them. But later, he claimed that these healthy trees were tragically placed only in the areas where she led them. As they continued their journey, inspecting other farmers' plantations, their suspicions were confirmed. To their surprise, not a single healthy cacao tree was found. Instead, they encountered rows of stunted, withering plants. These plantations starkly contrasted Luis's flourishing fields. He stated that this was the reason Nas Daily couldn't complete the video. To share it would be to propagate a falsehood, so they decided to leave. It looks like all the accusations were made online against each other, and Nas Daily stood firm in his statement. Also, it seems that every time Nas interviews some humble billionaire, it comes out to be a fraud. As on November 12, 2021, Nas uploaded a video titled "The Most Generous Billionaire" on his channel, featuring Sam Bankman-Fried as an exemplary figure in the cryptocurrency world for his philanthropic efforts and commitment to effective altruism. The video showcased Bankman-Fried's journey as the founder of FTX, a major cryptocurrency exchange, and highlighted his pledge to donate a significant portion of his wealth to charitable causes. Nas Daily praised Bankman-Fried's vision of using his fortune to make a positive impact on the world, positioning him as a role model for combining business success with social responsibility. However, the narrative around Bankman-Fried took a dramatic turn in late 2022 when FTX faced a severe liquidity crisis, ultimately leading to its collapse. Investigations revealed that FTX had mismanaged customer funds, and Bankman-Fried was accused of fraud and money laundering. He was arrested in December 2022, and in March 2024, he was convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison for defrauding investors and customers out of billions of dollars. I guess now he does not look like a generous billionaire after all. After Sam was declared as a crypto fraud, Nas deleted the video from his channel and then posted a video titled "What Happened?" In this video, he stated that after the whole Sam incident, people have lost trust in crypto. He said that he too was losing trust in people. However, his audience wasn't buying it. You did not lose trust in people. People losing trust in you. Apologies accepted. No. Wait, you didn't apologize at all. I flew all the way to the Bahamas using my own money. Are you sure Sam didn't pay you to get there? And Nas Daily also didn't bother doing their own research to find out that Sam only donated about 0.1% of his net worth. Nas Daily took all the sponsorship money to call Sam the most generous billionaire. To which Nas replied, "I think I know about this more than you. 97% of Nas Daily's videos are not sponsored, and this was one of them." Sam was not the only generous billionaire who came out to be a fraud after Nas's interview. There was one more. On May 5, 2022, Nas posted a video titled "Most Humble Crypto Billionaire," featuring Changpeng Zhao, commonly known as CZ, the founder and CEO of Binance, which is one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. The video aims to portray CZ as a relatable and grounded individual, contrasting with the often extravagant image associated with billionaires. In the video, Nas said,
CZ doesn't care about money. Look at his clothes.
Priceless.
But later Binance was criminally charged with breaking sanctions and money transmitting laws, and CZ was pleaded guilty to money laundering charges for allowing customers in other countries to transact in violation of US sanctions, and was stepped down from his post. These revelations have taken a toll on Nas Daily's reputation. What used to be seen as a genuine praise for successful people is now being questioned for not digging deeper into the facts. People are starting to wonder if Nas's platform cares more about exciting stories than the actual truth. Naz's experiences with Sam and CZ show how important it is to check facts carefully and not just focus on positive stories. In the fast-moving world of social media, where things can change quickly, staying honest and transparent with your audience is key.
You probably know Dhar Mann as the internet's favorite moral storyteller who grew big on YouTube. He's amassed over 18 billion views and has over 25 million subscribers on the platform. But what if the man teaching life lessons keeps failing his own? Dhar Mann is the same guy who built a brand on integrity right after pleading no contest to allegations of him defrauding the city of Oakland. He's a man whose videos preach lessons about fairness, while the actors in those videos were staging walkouts over low pay and abusive workplace conditions. He tells his millions of followers to be honest, but he quietly deletes or edits past videos to clean up his own narrative. He talks about treating employees with respect, yet dozens of his former staff accuse him of creating a toxic and manipulative work environment. He got rich selling a lifestyle. Then, he sold Live Glam makeup kits that influencers now say resembles a pyramid scheme. He's also a firm preacher of second chances, but only seems to give them to himself and nobody else. He allegedly fired a staff member of his company simply because she brought up the wage issue during a meeting. Already, you can tell that this isn't a story about a man that has miraculously turned his life around. No. It's rather a story of a man who repackaged his failures and is selling them as wisdom. Behind the thumbnails, the morals, and the staged compassion, Dhar Mann isn't just a storyteller, he is the product. And the more you watch, the more obvious it becomes that he's not changing lives. If anything, he's manipulating them. In this video, we take a long, hard look at the man behind the camera. We come to learn how a convicted scammer rebranded himself as the face of feel-good internet morality. This is the full story of Dhar Mann. Dharminder Mann was born on May 29, 1984 in the city of Oakland, California, to Indian immigrants Baljit and Surinder Singh, who are Punjabi Sikhs, moved to the US earlier in pursuit of better opportunities. While his parents built their financial success through running a taxi service called Friendly Cab as well as some real estate investments, Dhar grew up largely isolated from that success. He's described his upbringing as one that was emotionally cold, with his parents being absent often. They were more focused on survival and business than parenting.
My life was at such a low place, you know, like anytime I think about like the highs and the accolades and the milestones, I don't know, my mind just immediately goes back to like that struggle that I had when.
According to a New York Times article on him, Dhar is quoted saying rather than give me their time, they gave me money to do things, when asked about his early relationship with his parents. As his parents were focused on managing their company, he has said that rather than give me their time, they gave me money to do things. This early emotional disconnect would later shape the themes of validation and moral clarity in his videos. For school, he attended UC Davis, where he studied political science and economics. But Dhar was never fully invested in academia. Like many future entrepreneurs, he was restless. One of the first things Dhar Mann did with the money he got handed down from his parents was to look good. And in that vein, he launched his first business venture, a luxury car rental service called Exotic Car Rental. He did this at the young age of 19, targeting the young Silicon Valley elites. He claimed to own a fleet of exotic cars under his company, and while the business was a success, it made him some money, but it also revealed his obsession with image, success, and status. All values that ran counter to the humble, grateful persona he projected. Behind the glossy website and curated Instagram photos, the reality of the business was really messy. Tales about mismanaged finances, numerous clients left unhappy, and some lawsuits filled the air. It was clear that Dhar wasn't building a business. It was more like he was building a persona. After the car rental business went belly up and the stock market crash of 2008, Dhar Mann decided to shift into real estate. For him, the idea was not to serve communities, but to cash in on housing vouchers through government subsidies. With his company, Manedge Properties, Dhar filed false claims for rent subsidies and was charging the city for apartments that were either vacant or ineligible for the said subsidies. He was finally caught in 2012. After that, he was charged with 13 felony counts, including grand theft. He eventually pleaded no contest to 5 of those charges, and ended up with a sentence of 5 years of probation and repayment of over $44,000. The story made local news but didn't fully register nationally, at least not yet. That would come later, after his viral fame reframed the narrative and people started digging into his past. Fresh off a felony fraud conviction and still on probation, most people would have expected Dhar Mann to lay low. But he did the exact opposite of. He took some time off the spotlight, but he just rebranded and came right back. In 2010, he launched WeGrow, a flashy retail company that he claimed was the next big thing for the weed and smokers industry. The pitch was perfect. It was a clean, sleek, startup-style operation that sold hydroponic supplies to the booming medical marijuana market. Investors took this bite and jumped in. The media took the bait. CNBC, HuffPost, CNN, everyone covered it. But under the lights, it was all very shady business dealings. WeGrow wasn't the revolution of anything. Most of the franchises were hemorrhaging money. Store owners complained they'd been misled about the viability of the business model. Dhar had promised them a gold rush, assuring them the product would fly off the shelves. But what they got was a mirage, an expensive one too. While WeGrow kept getting hyped and talked about in public, behind the scenes, this empire was crumbling. The lawsuits piled up. One franchisee who invested hundreds of thousands accused him of breach of contract. Another, who was a Sacramento operator named Kevin Reed, publicly criticized the business after investing large sums and seeing no returns on his investment. Soon enough, others followed. Peterson, one of the early investors, while talking to a media outlet said, "This was a hydroponzi scheme, for lack of a better term, and it shouldn't be. It's got so many legs. We can make legitimate money here." He also added that Mann misled him about WeGrow's financials, refused to reimburse him $50,000, and failed to pay vendors and employees. He and his wife filed lawsuits against Mann, but he eventually countersued them in retaliation for a cash settlement and stocks in Peterson's company. After the court drama, WeGrow quietly shut down in 2011, barely a year after launching. Dhar claimed it was a strategic move, often being quoted excusing the family "we grew too fast," or it was just a phase of experimentation. But the real reason was the mounting legal trouble, irresponsible financial mismanagement, and a crumbling foundation of hype over substance. And again, no public accountability. No apology, just another slick pivot. Because here's the pattern: every time Dhar Mann's ventures fail, they fail privately. But his comebacks? Always public, always rebranded as moral lessons. No fraud, no lawsuits, just growth. The public wouldn't hear much about Dhar's medical cannabis venture again. It vanished from his story like it never happened. A failed weed empire swept neatly under the rug, buried beneath inspirational quotes and storytelling reels. By 2015, Dhar Mann had gone quiet again. There were no headlines, no arrests, just radio silence. For most people, that's rock bottom, where they start reconsidering their life values. But for Dhar, it was just the perfect reset he needed. And soon enough, he launched Live Glam, a makeup subscription service that he co-founded with his business partner and Instagram beauty influencer, Laura Avila.
This stone is flawless. F1. I keep shooters up top in the F1. A lot of bad.
The company launched modestly, offering makeup tutorials and giveaways. It quickly evolved into a full-blown makeup subscription box business, and it started with liquid lipsticks, but then quickly expanded to brush sets and monthly glam bags. Originally designed as an online school offering certified makeup tutorials for aspiring artists, Live Glam quickly pivoted to branded beauty products. And within a few years, the company grew from a $600 launch to generating tens of millions in annual revenue, shipping over 10 million vegan cosmetic kits, and employing a global team of over 100 people. Laura Avila, Dhar's partner in the venture, provided the brand's voice, most tutorials, and the influencer promotion, while Dhar handled operations and marketing. Together, they built a successful subscription model, monthly lipstick clubs, and themed glam boxes that were supported by major influencer partnerships and aspirational branding. But, just like before, the narrative was carefully controlled. Live Glam crafted the story of humble beginnings and entrepreneurial renaissance, quietly burying his previous setbacks. This was a new start for him, the rebirth of Dhar Mann. Within 2 years, Dhar had repositioned himself not just as a businessman, but as a creator and motivational figure. For him, Live Glam wasn't just a beauty brand, it was the escape hatch from his scandals. A rebrand turned purge, hiding inconvenient truths behind glamour and growth. By the time the curtains for the year 2018 were raised, Dhar Mann had already officially founded his very own production studio, and he called it Dhar Mann Studios. The start of the studio helped him launch a flood of emotionally charged short films designed to impart moral lessons. His videos blew up, reaching millions of views per upload, boasting a global audience and a brand that was built not on traditional media, but on digital shock value, redemption, and a now redundant template. He set up a production studio that was based in Burbank, operating on sets spread over multiple lots. According to their LinkedIn profile, the company officially lists having 51 to 200 employees, but also claims to work with around 200 full-time staff and are said to hire nearly 2,000 freelance actors per year. Despite the feel-good messaging, cracks appeared in February 2023, when several actors protested outside the studio, explaining that the pay rates of $33 to $44 an hour for speaking roles was good, but actors often only worked a couple hours per day, despite being booked for multiple days, meaning that they end up with a lot less money and a lot of wasted unpaid time.
Mostly the OG actors of Dhar Mann Studios are at the studio.
Arriving united.
Yeah.
What are you protesting?
I'm protesting the man never talks to anyone, he silently fires people, and he doesn't pay anyone what they're worth.
Some employees even had no contracts, and only got delayed or Venmo-based payments when they would eventually get paid. Most of them were also unpaid for their prep time, as well as the time they spent fixing their hair or makeup for sets, and also doing interviews and rehearsals. Many actors were saying they struggled to meet up with finances even after working there on and off for years. An actor who had appeared in dozens of Dhar Mann's videos stated that they had requested a meeting to address conditions of the workplace, only to have it postponed repeatedly until it was clear that he wasn't going to speak with anyone. Then they were canceling shoots without informing the actors involved.
That is getting pushed back.
Okay, I know this
For
story.
a different day. And they fired the crew in the middle of a shoot. And that was unprofessional because we would have ended on a Friday, even if we were gonna fire them. Like, I don't know, and it was very, like, they weren't communicating why they were canceling the shoot to us actors either. But I feel like we have some right to know what's going on.
Wait, they don't tell you what's going on at your company?
No.
Wait.
No. But yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about the crew, is that like that really was my kind of realization, that not that just realization, but that was kind of like my last straw there, because I was like, you're blatantly disrespecting the crew by firing them in the middle of a shoot, and that's one less.
According to the information available on Wikipedia, Charles Laughlin confirmed a colleague of his by the name Jessica Ruth Bell was allegedly fired via email after requesting access to that meeting. Passion Fruit and the Bulldogs Journal quoted multiple actors describing a culture of fear, inadequate on-set amenities that included food, water, heating, and pressuring people not to speak out. The studio responded, claiming they pay actors above industry norms and issue 1099-K tax forms via PayPal. They blamed the walkout on miscommunication and pointed to misinformation being spread online. Dhar's official statement emphasized compensation between $33 to $44 an hour and denied retaliation claims. Meanwhile, Glassdoor reviews paint a mixed picture. Some praise the creative energy and camaraderie. Others call it exploitative, poorly organized, and describe it as one of the worst work experiences they've had, especially in technical and crew roles. Even on Reddit, where fans rarely criticize, users condemned the pay structure and the reuse of actors. One fan eloquently put it, "People shouldn't be accepting bad wages and poor working conditions because it impacts all of us," pointing out how standards have to be set. The scandal disrupted the narrative. A company built on telling others to do the right thing, exposing itself as unwilling to practice those lessons internally. Despite continuing uploads, new deals like the one with Studio 71 in 2024, and big audience numbers, the disconnect between Dhar Mann's message and how he treats his people became the content's news subtext. On February 7, 2024, one of Mann's actors, Colin Borden, posted a series of 4 reels on Instagram discussing the working conditions at Dhar Mann Studios and why many of the actors started to protest.
That's where we are right now. The work that I personally have done at Dhar Mann, I'm incredibly proud of. I've built an incredible community over there of co-workers and fans. There's no denying that Dhar Mann is in my obituary, whether I go tomorrow or in 50 years or whatever. It's done. I've loved my time at Dhar Mann, and so much of that has to do with people like you who are watching this little video right now. So thank you to you. Thank you for being a supporting fan. Thank you for just watching. Thank you for just being a part of the community that we've built. The goal is to keep going to work, to have a conversation with Dhar, and to keep working at Dhar Mann Studios with the people that I love, doing the work that I love. We'll see. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you very much for all the time.
In this video, Borden again states that many of the actors, including some that have been around since the creation of Dhar Mann Studios 4 years ago, were being severely underpaid to the point that many could not afford rent.
Not a single actor that works at Dhar Mann Studios can afford rent.
In some cases, Mann was actively creating an unsafe working environment for his actors. Further allegations include routine failure to provide meals, proper water, or heating, especially on long shoots featuring child actors. Actors describe long hours without overtime compensation, no holding fees during standby days, and being paid without clear tax documentation.
Don't feel the need to abide by other industry standard rules. Dhar does not care about us. We've earned our stripes where we can talk to the boss, right? But that's the culture that he likes to keep there, is like, he's up here and everyone else is down here. I mean, we love all of the directors, but 2 of our favorites, Ryan and Joe and their crews, they all got fired. Like, what do you expect to happen? And like, what?
Then reviews reinforce this duality. While some employees praise the creative environment, others call the organization exploitative, and one of the worst work experiences they've had.
Remember when they wouldn't get me vegan food? Yeah, she would never get fed on set at Dhar because they would be like, shoot, they send you in the email, it's like, please let us know if you have any dietary restrictions for the shoot. So obviously, if you're vegan or you are gluten-free or something, you let them know. And then it would always be like, they would always just like forget to order her food. So like you'd have like Chipotle and you can have like what, 1 piece of lettuce? Is that what it was? How hard is it to just like have good craft services?
Some report not being paid overtime even after 8+ hour shoots. Reddit posts from ex-workers add further color by describing a toxic work culture that included unrealistic schedules, verbal abuse and maltreatment, equipment failures, and safety hazards, all while luxury cars and brand visuals were maintained for promotional purposes. Dhar Mann responded on social media, calling the protests misinformation, asserting that pay is competitive, and claiming redactions and narrative tweaks on online posts were simply rumor control. He doubled down, blaming the actors for miscommunication, and said misinformation had spread faster than facts. But the real fallout wasn't in court or on his studio premises, it was with his viewers, who are now revisiting his moral montage with a new lens. Every video preaching fairness now clashed with the reality behind the scenes. Every story about treating people right felt disingenuous when the employees said they were treated poorly. This controversy with his actors prompted fans to start seeing Dhar's content quite differently, and his content strategy and template became clear for all to see. People now saw the lazy tropes, the way he tells the same stories over and over, just with a different twist here and there. They saw the templates and how he was commodifying real struggles and real problems, like racism, poverty, sicknesses, and diseases even, all for a click and a view, he'll turn people's suffering into content. One of the most glaring examples of Dhar Mann's storytelling laziness is his overused gold digger storyline. A tired formula he's recycled endlessly. The plot is always the same. There's a woman with expensive taste pressures from her struggling boyfriend to buy her luxury items from brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, or Prada. He can't afford them because he's focused on building his business. Frustrated, she dumps him and chases after a rich man.
You got me a bag from Zara? I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that cheap brand.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. But look, as soon as I am made VP of this company, I'm gonna be able to buy you whatever bag you want, okay?
Right, Danny. You have been saying that for years. Oh, Erica, one day when I get a promotion, we're gonna move out of this crap apartment and into a penthouse. Oh, Erica, one day I'm gonna buy you whatever designer bags you want. Be honest. It is never gonna happen, is it? I gotta go.
Hi, hey, I think you forgot something. Is this lingerie?
But as always, karma kicks in. The rich guy turns out to be toxic. He cheats on her, or maybe he goes broke. Meanwhile, her ex reemerges, probably now wildly successful, decked out in designer clothes and driving a luxury car. She tries to crawl back, but it's too late. He's moved on.
I've known what you've been doing all along.
What did you expect, Danny? I want designer things. I want to live somewhere nice. What, was I just supposed to sit around and wait for you to get some promotion?
Oh, well, actually, that big news that I wanted to tell you about earlier, I got that promotion. And not only are they offering me a rather hefty salary increase, turns out I get a very large bonus as well.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
So that means you're gonna be making a lot more money?
Yup. Oh.
It's the same narrative over and over, then packaged as a lesson, but it really is just cheap clickbait dressed up as morality. Another popular take on Dhar Mann's content is its performative wokeness. Dhar Mann's videos routinely tackle social causes like bullying, racism, body shaming, and a few times even darker themes like suicide. But the stories often feel shallow, gesture-driven, and more about going viral than creating any meaningful impact. Academics critique this as a form of progressive neoliberalism, where social struggles are reduced to feel-good content that leaves viewers free of guilt, while ignoring the systemic complexities and promoting individualized virtue instead. A fan on Reddit put it best when she said, most of his lessons boil down to don't judge a book by its cover, don't bully or be mean/prejudiced to people, and don't do bad things like stealing or cheating. However, while on the surface they sound okay, the way they're portrayed always has something to do with money or getting caught or getting repercussions for their hurtful actions. For example, his videos with a character getting bullied always ends with them being successful and the bully being a janitor or poor. Or the girl gamer video where the mom only lets her daughter play the console, not because she realized she was being sexist, but because she won. These lessons are widely agreed to be harmful to teenagers and kids who are presumed to be the largest consumers of Dhar Mann's content. Another bone of contention with his fans is that a lot of Dhar Mann's actors don't deliver their lines naturally. They either overact or sound like robots reading from a script. The stories, which are super predictable, coupled with the bad acting, makes the emotions in the videos not feel real. Reddit users complain about this all the time. One said that the actors talk like they don't even want to be there. Their performances are bland and emotionless and sometimes feel forced. But it was not only the actors getting shtick. Dhar Mann was also called out for his savior complex in his castings. It was later noticed that in stories that he appeared in, he, Dhar, would always put himself in a hero or savior role, often coming in to save the day or to give some life-changing advice. Many of Dhar Mann's videos follow the same storyline. When someone gets mistreated or fails, then works hard, becomes rich, and proves everyone wrong. If that sounds familiar, it's because it is intended to mirror Dhar's own life story, over and over again. Basically, he keeps putting his own journey into the videos like he's trying to remind everyone how great he is. One paper says these stories make it seem like the only way to be respected is by becoming rich. So, what's the real issue here? Well, when put together, the things that make Dhar Mann's content so questionable are the shallow messages. They sound deep, but don't say much. The acting also feels fake and forced, and the stories all feel like they're secretly about Dhar Mann himself. It is kind of cheesy, and it feels like one big ad for him. But Dhar Mann's content issues go beyond just repeating stuff, having a savior complex and poor acting. A number of his videos have actually gotten real backlash, and it's not for teaching the wrong lesson per se, but for how they deliver it. Whether it's via exploitation of serious topics, cartoonishly evil characters, or flat-out misinformation in videos, some of these life lessons cross the line to become controversial. In the Sister Secrets series, the episode when a girl gets her first period in class, lots of eyebrows were raised over Dhar Mann's choice to cast SS Stalker Wolf in the video, given her negative reputation in the court of public opinion. As if that was not enough, the script for this video was a bit strange with the way the topic of a first period for a teenager was approached.
There it is, folks. The Industrial Revolution. Yes. It began in the late 18th century. It had a profound impact on society. It ushered in an era of significant technological advances, an increase in population, an increase in the standard of living, and of course, the emergence of the capitalist economy.
Excuse me, Mr. Turner.
Just a second, Ellie. It brought about changes to manufacturing, transportation, and agriculture, leading to the rise of factories.
Sorry, but I really have to use the restroom.
You have to wait, Ellie. Class just started. Come on. Anyway, today we're going to be delving into the innovations of steam.
I have to go now.
Oh, go, sorry.
Viewers also pointed out the fact that the mother in this video tried too hard to be hip and cool by using slang that she didn't understand, and also called out the fact that she told everyone that cared to listen about her daughter getting her first period, and even went as far as throwing a birthday party in her honor, without acknowledging her daughter's discomfort. Another video that has also caused a significant buzz is the one about road rage drivers. In the video, a driver named Mark is in the car with his wife and son behind when another driver cuts him off. He tries to confront the driver that cut him off, but his wife insists on him letting it go, but Mark lets off on the driver anyway.
Oh, so I talked to Mom, and she said she can watch Derek during our session next week, so I was...
What the?
Oh, okay, Mark, calm down. It's fine.
Hey, man, you just cut me off. So, you got a problem? Yeah, I do. I do have a problem. Well, I would have a problem if I were driving that old crappy BMW you got there. Oh, yeah? Well, why don't I just ram my BMW to your Alfa Romero?
Mark, stop. You don't need to provoke him.
He cut me off, Amy. I'm not just gonna let him disrespect me like that. Listen to your lady, okay? It's quite clear who are the pants in your relationship. I regret saying that.
No! You need to stop acting this way. I mean, our son is in the back seat for crying out loud. You gotta be careful. One moment of madness can create a lifetime of sadness.
Please, don't be so...
Then, in retaliation, his wife arranged with 2 actors to kidnap her husband and trick him into thinking that his son was murdered, only to later find out that it was not true and his wife was behind everything. This video is one of the most disturbing stories available on his channel and has done quite nicely, racking up over 5 million views. It has also rightfully earned its place as one of the most controversial Dhar Mann videos. Then there's the teenager that gets fired from her job because she has a social media obsession. This episode, titled Teen Fired for TikTok Obsession, sees a teenage girl who has struggled to hold down a basic job and is a chronic shopper and sucker for capitalism, trying to make it big on TikTok instead of grinding like everyone else.
Why is there another package here for you?
Oh, yes, it came in. I've been waiting for this.
This is ridiculous. I swear all you do is waste your time on that dumb app just buying useless stuff.
Well, for one, these things aren't useless. It's cool stuff I found on TikTok. And two, it's my money. It's not like I'm asking you to pay for it.
What's the point of having a job when all you do is waste your time and money on things that you do not need?
What are you two arguing about now?
Dad's mad that I'm spending my own money that I made.
No, I'm frustrated that she's wasting her money on useless things she finds on the internet.
All right. Can we just take this down a notch? Sweetheart, maybe you shouldn't spend so much money. At least try to save some of it. And maybe you cannot give her such a hard time. Like she said, it's her money.
Whoa, are you seriously encouraging her right now?
The story advises that people abandon their social lives and spend their days making videos in hopes that they make it big on TikTok one day and make a ton of money in weeks. The script also seems to encourage young people to abandon real jobs and go on making videos for TikTok on the hopeful dream that they make it big one day. A Reddit commenter pointed out that Mr. Beast recently expressed his shock over the fact that so many people quit their jobs to now become influencers and have gotten nowhere, advising Dhar Mann to take a page from Mr. Beast's notes. The Mischief Mikey episodes come with its own series of drama and discussions as well. The episode shows a young boy, 13 years old precisely, who robs a bank for an Apple Vision Pro. Just after he enters the bank's safe deposit and sees a bunch of cash just to buy a Vision Pro without knowing that his mom already ordered one for him.
Mom, I don't ask for much out of this life. I just want an Apple Vision Pro.
Mikey, give it a rest.
Here we are, Miss Miller. I'll give you a moment.
Thank you.
Mom, you've been holding out on us. There's like $1 zillion in there.
How do you know? You've never seen $1 zillion, Mikey.
I won't ask you, Jaden. Do you care to explain yourself, Mother? Because, it looks like you can easily afford my Vision Pro.
Grammy gave us this money for you and Jaden's college fund, not for anything else.
Wait. So what you're saying is that that's our money? Well, if that's the case, I can easily afford my own Vision.
The episode is largely described as the worst example of a scenario where, if a character did the right thing, they would have gotten a materialistic prize, which was a Vision Pro in this case. It doesn't teach the viewers to do good because it's good, rather it focuses on teaching to do good because there might be a reward for doing good. Another episode that is heavily debated and remains a major point of controversy till today is the Kid Gets Bullied for Having Cancer episode. In this episode, a high school bully verbally abuses another student for having cancer and being bald, probably due to the chemotherapy treatment he was getting.
Okay, hold on. I'll give it to you. Oh, sorry. Come on, little man. Let's test out that verdict. You got a death wish? Why would you do that, Cameron?
Because you're being a jerk and making fun of him, and that ain't cool.
Bro, he has a Lakers hat on. I mean, that's almost as bad as the 76ers hat. Take this off. Yo, what happened to your hair, dude? What's going on?
Give me back my hat, Tyler.
Oh, I remember. You got that cancer thing now, don't you? Ugh, stay away from me, bro.
Seriously, Tyler?
Yeah, not cool. All right, whatever. You can have the hat back, Cancer. Oh, I mean Cameron, I'm so sorry.
Tyler.
But at the end of the episode, the bully claims to have been using the bullying as a coping mechanism for dealing with the death of his father. Critics kept calling out this video because of how it rewards bullying, with the bully having a change of heart later on in the video. The Chasing Charlie episode also has its own handful of controversial moments. The episode sees a girl trade her real life for a virtual reality world, and in this world she goes through a series of different weird scenarios. And she finally falls in love with someone in the VR world, but it turned out that the person was a 45-year-old man in real life.
You are even hotter in real life. I thought you were gonna be some kind of catfish. Thank God you're not.
Do I know you?
It's me, Charlie.
I think you have the wrong house.
No, I don't. You're Clayton, right? I'm your girlfriend. In the VR world.
Virtual reality? I've
Never used a VR in my life. I mean, my dad does. Dad, do you know this girl?
Look, there's no easy way to say this, but I'm Clayton. I've been pretending to be my son this whole time.
What? No. There's literally no way. I heard your voice on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Be surprised what you can do with AI these days.
Many fans disagree with this script as it toys with a pedophilic theme, and it was seen as suitable punishment for a girl's decision to stay in the VR world. The highly conflicting story took this video to new heights, as it was able to bag a hefty 11 million views. Another controversial episode is the farm animal episode, where the story sees an 8-year-old girl who visits a farm to see farm animals for the first time, and in her curious spree she asks the farmer what the goats are for, and he tells her that they're killed for meat. This new knowledge clearly breaks her down, and she tries to even save some of the goats by convincing her dad to buy them, but he wasn't able to.
I'll name you Gertrude. Gertrude the goat. Do you like that, Gertrude? I think I just found my new favorite animal. So if chickens are for eggs, cows are to milk, and horses are to ride, what are goats for?
Oh, they're, for meat. Where else do you think goat meat comes from?
You're telling me you wait till they die and you turn them into meat?
We don't wait for them to die, little girl. We kill them. We shoot them and drain the blood right out of them. Keeps the meat nice and fresh. That's how we get the big bucks.
You're gonna kill them?
You know what? Let's go look at the chickens. That's enough.
No, I wanna know.
Not the kids. Not yet. But the mama's done be due for a slaughter in about 6 weeks from now when them babies don't need her anymore.
You can't just do that. Babies always need their moms.
I ain't see why I can't do what I want, considering...
So she takes her worries to school and brings them up with a vegan teacher at school. The teacher, being an animal lover, had very different views on the situation. The video sparked fresh waves of vegan versus normies debates as fans picked sides and stayed divided on an opinion, with multiple comments on the video in disagreement with the video. One user said it's not animal mistreatment, but was simply farming. Another video that caused significant uproar was the video of a teenager that cheated on a test for an iPhone 15. This episode was first of all misleading with the title, and most people in it were actually not nice at all. The story follows a boy who lied to his parents about his grade on a test because he thought they were going to gift him a new iPhone for getting good grades. As the episode goes on, he keeps lying to also impress a girl from his school.
I'm gonna be in big trouble.
Alex, honey, dinner's ready.
I got an A- on my English test.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Carter, we're so proud of you. Alex, weren't you supposed to get your chemistry test back today? How did you do?
I did fine.
Just fine?
Mm-hmm.
This food looks incredible, Mom. Thank you so much for making dinner for us. I can't wait to just dig in.
Stop beating around the bush. What'd you get on your test?
Just bring it here so we can see it.
Since you did so well, Carter, we've got a big surprise for you.
A surprise? Oh, it must be the new iPhone 15. Oh my gosh.
Again, the script doesn't make sense, as the girl eventually makes him fight two random guys for no reason, which ends up with him getting seriously beaten. Fans expressed their displeasure for the script, with one fan saying he would punch everyone in the story except Alex. Then comes a video script that often comes with Dhar Mann's videos. In this episode, a teenager bashes a car and drives off. Viewers have always complained how they never get to see a character simply learn a lesson for their bad actions. Instead, they just receive an insane amount of karma for their actions, no matter how little, and this video is a great example of such scripts.
Hey, slow down. Dude, you're gonna hit... Oh, crap, man. It's okay. Do you have a piece of paper and a pen?
No. Why?
To leave a note? Wait, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, you're being serious? Bro, we are not doing that. Hey, there's no witnesses. Edgar, quick, let's go. No, absolutely not. How would you like it if someone just banged into your car and didn't leave a note? I want to know. I don't know, man. Gil, come on. Just do the right thing. You know what they say. Your actions always have a way of coming back to you. Oh, gosh. Not all this karma stuff again, dude. Karma.
The trope of instant and multiplied karma is one that fans of the show have grown tired of seeing, and they surely made their points made after the release of this episode. One fan on Reddit said instant karma in a way this extreme is 1000% not going to teach any life lessons. Finally, the episode where a 16-year-old teenager abandons his parents. And this is a very controversial episode because it shows that Dhar's mind is no longer here, as the episode literally involves time travel, which is kind of a comic relief for critics of the show.
New shoes and new phones. My parents are the worst. Are you even listening?
I'm sorry, I've finally figured this out.
What is that?
It's a time machine.
Yeah, right.
I swear. No, it works.
I wish it did, man. I would go back 25 years ago and make it to where my parents never met. Man. Are you serious, bro?
All you have to do is type in how many years you want to go back in the past and hit the call button. When you are ready to come back to the present, just hit the pound key and call again.
Like you, Neil. Out of all people, figured out time travel. Okay, let's see this. So I'm just gonna put this thing on, right? Yeah, press these buttons right here, and then magically just... Whoa!
Most fans were too busy laughing at the idea that a Dhar Mann script could contain such advanced themes like time traveling. As one fan on Reddit put it, this episode is almost so bad that it's now good for me. Amazed at the concept of time travel. These selection of episodes weren't just nitpicked, they're all episodes that have been openly criticized by fans in the Dhar Mann fan subreddit. They all somehow reinforce some key themes of his franchise, which include absurd premises for the videos, an effort at numbing the seriousness of real issues, and they become cheap props for formulaic messaging. The ego over ethics branding bleeds through the scripts, and always somehow ends up positioning Dhar Mann as the center of moral universes. Yet, for a lot of viewers, Dhar Mann Studios has remained a moral compass, a place where good always triumphs, bullies always lose, and karma never misses. For the growing number of critics, Dhar Mann himself is the biggest contradiction of that message. His online empire was built on repackaged morality tales of trust, kindness, and perseverance. But beneath the surface, Dhar Mann wasn't practicing the values he preached, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And yet, Dhar Mann continues to grow. He's opened a new soundstage. He's expanded merchandise sales. His videos now include cartoons, Spanish dubs, and franchise spin-offs. The algorithm is still working in his favor. But legacy isn't built on algorithms. It's built on how you treat people when the cameras stop rolling. And if the backlash from his own actors, former employees, and exposed court records tell us anything, it's that Dhar Mann isn't the hero in his own story. By 2025, Dhar Mann is now a digital titan. Forbes ranked him number 2 among top creators, as he's pulling in $50 million from Google AdSense and deals with Meta, Universal, and others. His 125,000 square foot Burbank studio rivaled Hollywood lots, and his app turned his videos into a streaming empire. He nabbed a 2024 Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award nomination and 3 Telly Awards, adding shine to his name. His podcast, Dhar and Jay Show, featured guests like Charli D'Amelio, mixing stories with star power. In his personal life, he thrived, living in a Calabasas mansion with Laura Avila and their 2 daughters, born in 2020 and 2021. Mann's legacy is a tightrope. He built an empire that reached 136 million followers, inspiring kids with lessons on kindness and parents with teachable moments. His charity works, donating to food banks, raising funds through videos, made a real dent, But the simplistic morals, clickbaity tactics, and whispers of exploitation left a question. Was Dhar Mann a genuine force for good, or just a guy who turned cheesy stories into cash? His videos, viewed 60 billion times, changed lives for some, but others saw a hustler who knew how to play the game. By 2025, Mann was still preaching, but the choir wasn't singing as loud, and the shadow of his past loomed large.
When you donate to a charity live stream and that money leaves your bank account and it goes to the charity, do you expect that money to actually be going to the charity that you're donating to, or do you expect it to sit in a bank account for years? What do you think is the more logical option? Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today we've got a pretty serious video to make. Throughout my career, you know, people make mistakes and there's accountability to be taken, and I am not shy to taking real accountability to actual mistakes.
Mutahar, you lying f***ing scumbag! What is your problem, dude? Why do you throw me under the bus for some dude that's got lolly in his videos? What is your problem?
Hello?
Since ancient times, there have always been people who could captivate thousands using nothing but their words.
I wake up every day, I do my job, I scratch my balls, I play around with Linux, some video games, and that's my life, dude.
Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers is one such person. But unlike speakers of the past who spoke on marble platforms, he speaks through YouTube and Discord calls. His voice has served as the voice of reason, integrity, and sometimes curiosity on the internet.
That is a lot of money that has gone to save lives and fight against this pandemic. You may look at his net worth and say, wow, he donated a tiny percentage of his cash, but that's $100 million that any organization can do wonders with if they use it appropriately. Ethan did the exact same thing. He looked at Jeff Bezos, said, wow, the richest guy in the world only gave $100 million, and just completely shat on it.
A self-described computer engineer and cybersecurity expert who dove into the darkest corners of the web and came back with stories. A YouTuber who exposed scams, dissected controversies, and often presented himself as the rational side to internet hysteria.
I'm a computer engineer. I'm a fucking computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. In Toronto, nobody by that name specifically has suffered any form of death, right?
No. I have an Alexia, but there's no death in that.
Okay, so as far as the Toronto police know, she is in fact alive.
Yeah.
But that's that with the good side, because beneath the cool-headed demeanor he attacks other creators with, and the technical jargon, a far more complicated story was taking shape. One filled with mostly contradictions, half-truths, and moral backflips. Backflips because Mutahar spent years holding others to account, calling out liars and frauds. Questions were quietly building about his own honesty. You see, over the years, he's described himself as many things. An engineer, a programmer, a video editor, even a producer who worked in LA, Tokyo, and Dubai.
He's an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm a engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm only an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm just an engineer.
His fans saw him as a prodigy of many trades, but others saw something else. A man whose stories didn't quite line up. From false claims of military involvement, to the now infamous engineer controversy, to the total collapse of his podcast amid allegations of hypocrisy and dishonesty over his actual job. Mutahar's carefully built reputation began to unravel piece by piece.
He's an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm a engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm only an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm just an engineer. YouTube isn't my job. Thank God my job isn't YouTube. YouTube is not my job. 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 I use YouTube as a hobby. This is not a job. YouTube is
on YouTube.
I think like 3.4 or 5 million or something. I don't know the exact amount.
3.5, like 3.5 million. We'll say that. And you're still doing multiple 9-to-5s where you're running different businesses. You were talking about Q4
I'm the
being
CEO of our own
busy.
company. Like I'm the CEO of
Right.
like our own group. We do a lot of like property and like asset investment around where we live.
His fallout with Ethan Klein, his investigations into creators like J-Station and The Completionist, his ties to Nux Taku during the podcast scandal where each episode revealed the contradictions of the man behind the microphone.
I upload every day and YouTube's not even my job. I was like, shut the f up, bro. But like, yes, it is. Shut up.
He did the exact same thing. He looked at Jeff Bezos, said, wow, the richest guy in the world only gave $100 million, and just completely shat on it.
To be this righteously angry, surely I must have said that. I mean, all of his fans are spamming our subreddit, they're tweeting at me hate shit, they're emailing me hate shit. It's got all these views and likes. Surely I actually said that, right? Let me actually look back and see, what did I say? So I talked about how...
His first controversy, however, was in 2020 when the platform was consumed by one of its biggest creator feuds. A war of words between Ethan Klein, host of H3H3 Productions, and Daniel Keemstar Keem, the infamous drama host behind Drama Alert. Their conflict drew in nearly every major figure in the community, forcing creators to choose sides in what quickly became a moral spectacle. Mutahar somehow decided to step into the crossfire. At the time, he was friendly with Keemstar, and while he wasn't directly involved in the feud, he seemed compelled to voice his opinion. The result was a video titled The Hypocrisy of Ethan Klein, a 7-minute critique that would mark the first serious dent in his credibility. In the video, Mutahar accused Ethan Klein of donation shaming Jeff Bezos, after the Amazon CEO donated $100 million to COVID-19 relief efforts through Feeding America. Mutahar framed Ethan as hypocritical, calling him a moral grandstander who criticized billionaires even when they did something good.
In this trying time, Ethan has had plenty of time to sit on Twitter and morally grandstand and basically spread his political beliefs as they may be and as pseudo-intellectual as he comes across. But that's not even my concern. My concern is his donation shaming and how hypocritical it is, and it's something that has actually pissed me off enough to make this video.
The video, which leaned heavily on Mutahar's righteous anger, quickly spread across timelines. It was exactly the kind of attention-driven momentum that many creators thrived on, but this time the facts weren't on his side. Within days, Ethan Klein responded, not with another moral tirade, but with evidence. He played back his own live streams and showed, line by line, that he had never criticized Bezos' donation. His original comments were about Amazon's labor practices and its sick leave policy, not the donation itself.
I talked about how Amazon was only giving sick leave to people who test positive for coronavirus, which, I mean, admittedly is insane and obviously not donation shaming. I talked about Whole Foods asking its employees to donate their own sick days to other employees so they could take time off. Well, that's not donation shaming, what it is. I did say that Jeff Bezos is looking more and more like Lex Luthor.
He then mocked Mutahar's opening line.
Because this video is sponsored by a take.
Imagine making a video that starts with, "This video was sponsored by a take," and the take didn't even happen, and then all of a sudden that take is yours, Dad.
Mutahar had made a critical factual error, the kind that a few minutes of verification could have prevented. Ethan's rebuttal made it clear that Mutahar hadn't actually checked the source material before launching into outrage mode. The hypocrisy accusation was baseless. Realizing the scale of the mistake, Mutahar quickly deleted the video and issued an apology.
Realizing how big my channel actually is, I have responsibility to not make claims. And with that said, I give my whole apologies to Ethan and Gila for sure. I feel like they both deserve it hardcore.
The apology itself seemed sincere, acknowledging the responsibility that came with his platform, but what stood out was the behavior that led to it. Overconfidence, lack of research, and the impulse to moralize first and fact-check later. This was the first visible crack in Mutahar's image as a voice of reason. Curiously though, Mutahar escaped major backlash. His audience, who largely disliked Ethan Klein and H3H3 Productions, brushed off the incident. Many of his fans praised him for apologizing, while others, however, believed it to be a wake-up call. But to understand how he cultivated such a large audience that would back him even in his failings, you have to go all the way back to the start of his channel. The story of Mutahar and Nas of Some Ordinary Gamers began way back in March 15th, 2012, when he and his friends Ahead decided to launch a small YouTube channel together. Their first upload, a Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, was nothing out of the ordinary by 2012 standards. Just two friends joking around and exploring a game they loved.
Hello everyone, welcome to our first Let's Play on YouTube. We're doing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And could you explain to them why we're doing this?
Yeah, so Mutahar here
hasn't played Ocarina of Time. I mean, he has a file, he just didn't start it. So we're gonna go start on with that. And right now we're debating on to start it on file 2 or 3 because we like our numbers. And
I mean, damn, these must be some ghetto ass artists. Oh, I'd so tap that.
Uh-oh.
Look at that! Look at that guy! Look at how badass he is! No, I'm kidding.
Red
It's a
face.
rape face. Total rape face, kids.
In those early months, Zahed took the lead on a series called Cancelled Gaming, exploring unreleased and forgotten titles that never made it to store shelves. Meanwhile, Mutahar carved out his own niche, Haunted Gaming, a series dedicated to creepypastas, cursed cartridges, and unsettling internet legends. These two formats form the twin pillars of the channel's identity, but it didn't take long for one personality to stand out, Mutahar's. The thing that many found amazing about Mutahar is that he had a talent for turning grainy screenshots and obscure forum posts into captivating narratives, and viewers gravitated toward his grounded tone in an era of mostly boring YouTube personalities. By late 2013, the dynamic had changed completely. Zahed's involvement faded, and Mutahar took sole ownership of the channel. Some Ordinary Gamers crossed the 10,000 subscriber milestone, which was a huge number for the time, and became a one-man operation. From that point forward, Haunted Gaming and Cancelled Gaming evolved beyond simple series. They became the core pillars of the brand, establishing Some Ordinary Gamers as a reliable source of strange, atmospheric, and thoughtful gaming commentary. In a landscape dominated mostly by loud personalities, Mutahar stood out as something different by being more analytical and strangely magnetic.
Hey everyone, me and Mutahar, and we're doing a little...
That phrase became the heartbeat of Some Ordinary Gamers. It became something like an audio cue that immediately transported viewers into Mutahar's strange, unsettling world of haunted cartridges.
Hey guys, me and Mutahar, Some Ordinary Gamers, and we're playing System Shock 2. Haven't uploaded a video of this in a while, so wanted to get back into it and play some System Shock 2.
During this period, the channel thrived on 3 pillars of content: creepypastas, indie horror reviews, and cancelled game retrospectives. These were crafted like episodes in an anthology, each one exploring a corner of gaming culture that mainstream creators ignored. Mutahar's Haunted Gaming series stood out as one of YouTube's most atmospheric collections of horror storytelling. Each episode mostly explored urban legends like Sonic.exe, Ben Drowned, Polybius, and other tales that blurred the line between fiction and reality. While others treated creepypastas as mere campfire stories, Mutahar's presentation gave them a documentary-style gravity, because he would analyze screenshots, examine supposed ROMs, and dissect forum posts as if he were conducting a genuine investigation. However, Mutahar's defining leap came in the mid-2010s, when he unveiled a new series that would completely reshape his image and propel the channel into YouTube legend, Deep Web Explorations.
Question videos is time where I have to ask the community about something too with the content that I produce for you all. As you all know, the Deep Web video seems to have gotten quite a positive reaction out of people watching. It seems like a lot of people have really wanted that for a long time. And I've come to realize something too. I really enjoyed doing it.
Each week, Mutahar would venture into the so-called deep web, the unindexed corners of the internet, browsing through crazy, unsettling, or illegal websites while narrating his thoughts to viewers. The Deep Web Exploration playlist would go on to accumulate hundreds of millions of views, making Mutahar one of YouTube's elite. By 2016, Some Ordinary Gamers had become synonymous with rational curiosity, something like an antidote to YouTube hysteria. Mutahar's tone, his composure, and his habit of verifying before reacting earned him a reputation as the reasonable guy in the commentary community. He wasn't a provocateur or a clout chaser. He was, as fans described him, the only adult in the room. This was exactly when his interests began to widen. He began shifting his focus toward internet controversies, scams, tech conspiracies, and YouTuber drama. He started talking about everything from shady online marketplaces to influencer meltdowns and privacy breaches. He dissected social media trends, criticized exploitative content farms, called out corrupt and foul YouTubers and other predatory practices on YouTube. The pivot felt natural. While commentary channels like Keemstar's Drama Alert and Ethan Klein's H3H3 Productions thrived on escalation, Mutahar carved out the opposite identity. Throughout this period, he also expanded his output into discussions of cybersecurity, cryptocurrency, and tech ethics, reinforcing his brand as someone who understood the machinery behind the chaos. By late 2019, Some Ordinary Gamers was approaching 2 million subscribers, a milestone that symbolized how far Mutahar had come from his early days of ghost stories and cursed cartridges. Yet, as YouTube was about to enter a new decade, Mutahar's calm voice would soon find itself at the center of storms he could no longer narrate from a distance. And this is where the Ethan Klein controversy would come in, marking the first real controversy for the creator, but it was only the first of many. Eventually the controversy faded, but the impression lingered. Mutahar's credibility had been nicked, and while his career momentum continued, the incident foreshadowed a recurring theme. For the first time, Mutahar's biggest flaw was visible not in what he said, but in what he didn't bother to verify. After the Ethan Klein problem, Mutahar's credibility seemed momentarily shaken, but fate soon handed him an opportunity to rebuild it. Between 2020 and 2023, he would experience a career high point that redefined his public image, positioning him as one of YouTube's most credible independent investigators. This leads us to the J-Station hoax, another infamous scandal in YouTube's modern history, but before we get into it, you need to know who this guy is. J-Station was, or still is, a Canadian YouTuber who was notorious for his 3 AM challenge videos and exploitation of tragedy for clicks, had already built a whole thing as one of the platform's most unethical creators. His niche was to use shock, fake supernatural events, and even death to farm views. He and his then-girlfriend, Alexia Morano, ran the Dream Team channel, where they created sensational videos involving Ouija boards, haunted dolls, and spirit communication, and stuff like that. But in January 2020, J-Station crossed a line that even his critics didn't see coming. He uploaded a tearful video titled something along the lines of "My girlfriend Alexia died," claiming she had been killed by a drunk driver in a hit-and-run accident. The upload was laced with dramatic pauses and emotional manipulation. Jay thanked fans for their support, referenced their dream of hitting 1 million subscribers, and vowed to keep her legacy alive. "Thank you guys so much for all your support," Jay said into the camera, appearing distraught. "She just wanted to reach 1 million subscribers. We were working so hard."
Thank you guys so much for all of your support, especially on mine and Alexia's channel, Dream Team. She just wanted to get 1 million subscribers. We were working so...
At first, many viewers expressed condolences, but almost immediately, others noticed inconsistencies. Alexia's family hadn't posted anything, no local news outlets reported the accident, and Jay's demeanor seemed kinda performative. Then, days later, he posted another video titled "Contacting My Dead Girlfriend Alexia at 3 AM Challenge," in which he pretended to use a Ouija board to communicate with her spirit.
One on each side of the Ouija board, just like this. I am so freaking scared right now, guys.
It was one of the most distasteful stunts ever uploaded to YouTube, and it might have gone unchecked if not for Mutahar's intervention. Being Canadian himself, Mutahar knew how to search public records within the Toronto jurisdiction. He pulled up death registries, contacted local authorities, and began to fact-check Jay's claims in real time during a video.
So, in Toronto, nobody has been, nobody by that name specifically has suffered any form of death, right?
No. I have an Alexia, but there's no death in that.
Okay.
Within days, Alexia herself appeared online, confirming that she was alive and denouncing Jay for lying about her death. What happened after that wasn't so pretty.
Coming out to confirm that she was in fact alive and well, and YouTube would finally step.
YouTube, under mounting public pressure, banned Jay from the platform to show how far he had crossed the line. In the aftermath, Mutahar was hailed as a hero. His investigation had not only exposed one of YouTube's most disgusting hoaxes, but it also proven that independent creators could conduct meaningful, fast-driven journalism in a space dominated by clickbait, especially after the Klein thing. From then on, he wasn't just a commentator anymore, he was a trusted watchdog. For a brief moment, Mutahar embodied everything his brand promised: rational, fearless, ethical. But as history would soon show, the same confidence that made him bold enough to uncover the truth would also make him reckless enough to ignore it. Over the next few years, he continued to grow his reputation through a string of other investigations that showcased both his technical competence and his commitment to transparency. One of the most notable of these was his deep dive into the Club Penguin scandal, a video that would go on to amass nearly 4 million views. The once wholesome Disney-owned online world, famous for its family-friendly snow forts and puffles, had devolved into a haven for inappropriate and illegal activity following the rise of unofficial private servers.
That leaves me unfazed over the internet. It's stories of predators hanging around near children's games. You know, I've seen it years ago with the Minecraft community when a lot of exposing was going on. But the thing is, I wasn't surprised and I wasn't shocked. The thing is, this stuff unfortunately goes pretty hand in hand. Now, today's video is all about Club Penguin, and a lot of you might say, well, Muta, Club Penguin's gone. And you're right, it does not operate in an official capacity, despite some of the news sites that almost make it seem like it still does.
The video struck a nerve. For many, Club Penguin was a huge piece of their childhood. Seeing it corrupted like this was hard. Not long after, he joined forces with another prominent figure in the commentary world, Nicholas DeOrio, to investigate a creator known as Mama Max, a YouTuber whose entire brand revolved around hunting predators. Initially, both Mutahar and DeOrio had viewed Max as a force for good, someone using his platform to expose real danger online, but as they dug deeper, it wasn't quite as it seemed.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today we're going to be looking at a pretty interesting update regarding Mama Max. Now usually when I do an investigation on the internet or make a big video, usually the matters are pretty done and dusted right there. I don't really have to go back. But you know, since then there's actually been a lot of developments that I think are worth talking about and worth revisiting. Now to give you an idea, about the end of last year, I covered a creator known as Mama Max, who used to be a friend of mine, all right, a friend of Nexpo, friend of Nick Crowley, friend of a lot of people in the horror community. Now, Max was a content creator that was known for filming investigations and takedowns on unsavory people on the internet, specifically being unsavory towards those that are not of age, okay? Now, it turned out that I think nearly all of Max's investigative materials were complete nonsense. Now, Max had an interesting style of producing content, his editing was...
Together, they uncovered how Mama Max's content mixed real accusations with dramatized elements, creating confusion between what was real and fake. Behind the scenes, Max's behavior with collaborators raised red flags with accusations of manipulation, over-dramatization, and exploiting serious topics for engagement. The collaboration between Mutahar and DeOrio helped dismantle the myth surrounding Mama Max, showing that even those who claim to be heroes of the platform could fall victim to the same narcissism and recklessness as the predators they claim to expose.
ChatGPT understands the legal system.
Which is not true, by the way. Don't even believe that for a second. All right, Max was not exactly a truthful individual. Now, the reason why Max came into prominence was at the time, Max was running a video series regarding something known as God Cult. A cult which was centered around guarding our children, okay? God, guard our children, you get the idea?
But as the years rolled forward, that reputation would become increasingly fragile, because for all the times Mutahar exposed the lies of others, there were some deceptions and inconsistencies that he could not or would not confront within himself. But we'll get into all that a bit later. By late 2023, Mutahar's investigative reputation had reached its apex. He had taken down scammers, debunked hoaxes, and peeled back the web's darker corners, all while earning the trust of millions. It was in this climate of credibility that he partnered with fellow YouTuber Carl Jobst for what would become one of the most high-profile exposés of his career, the Completionist charity scandal. The investigation centered on Gerard the Completionist Khalil, a well-known gaming personality celebrated for his exhaustive game reviews and philanthropy. For years, Gerard had run a non-profit organization called the Open Hand Foundation, reportedly in honor of his late mother, which promised to raise funds for Alzheimer's and dementia research. On the surface, it was a noble cause for sure, a YouTuber using his platform for good, but when Mutahar and Carl began examining the charity's public tax filings, a different picture started to emerge. Their videos alleged that hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations had never actually reached any Alzheimer's organizations. Instead, the funds appeared to be sitting idle in a foundation account, unspent and unallocated.
Tells me, Mutahar, I'm going to start you off with a question. When you donate to a charity live stream and that money leaves your bank account and it goes to the charity, do you expect that money to actually be going to the charity that you're donating to, or do you expect it to sit in a bank account for years? What do you think is the more logical option? Do you want your money to go that year, or do you want it to just sit in a bank account doing...
The evidence was actually compelling, with screenshots of tax forms, on-camera explanations, and a recorded call with Gerard himself, who seemed to stumble through answers.
You know, I think that's my up. I have personally donated to AFTD and Alzheimer's Association over the years, and that's where, again, I assumed the money was going there to support them as we were talking negotiations about working with them. I don't really have a true answer for that, and that's on me completely.
The tone of his response only deepened suspicion. For a brief moment, Mutahar was back in the spotlight, but again, that spotlight wouldn't last. A few weeks later, a YouTube channel called Accountant on YouTube, run by an actual financial professional, released a video dissecting Mutahar and Carl's work, and it was bad, to put it lightly. It revealed that Mutahar and Carl had misinterpreted key financial data, made faulty calculations, and failed to consider standard nonprofit practices. Worse still, it highlighted a growing problem in the YouTube ecosystem, creators playing experts in fields they weren't qualified for.
I remember watching Mutahar's video where he asks for an accountant with some experience to look into this.
I want everyone professional in the industry to look into this, because this is very, again, when I said that this raises red flags to any CPA or accountant that I've shown, there's a reason for that.
Ask and you shall receive, my friend.
To his credit, Mutahar claimed in follow-up commentary that they had consulted an accountant, though no documentation or direct quotes were provided. To many, it looked like damage control. Still, the core of their investigation, that the Open Hand Foundation had held onto donations for years without acting on them, remained true. Even with flaws in their methodology, they had uncovered real wrongdoing, and that fact earned them credit from the public. However, this moment could prove to be the last time Mutahar stood firmly in good standing with the YouTube community world. Because soon after, Mutahar's investigative instincts would turn inward toward his own circle of friends, collaborators, and decisions. And in doing so, the man once praised for exposing lies would find himself accused of living them. In December 2021, Mutahar set out to expand beyond his solo commentary work with the launch of the Some Ordinary podcast, a roundtable show featuring himself, Oompaville, and Nux Taku. The idea had three distinct personalities: the investigative straight man, Mutahar, the comedic chaos agent Oompa, and the eccentric anime YouTuber Nux, discussing internet culture, gaming, and drama in long-form conversations. The show premiered with strong reception. Fans loved the chemistry, and over time, they hosted major YouTube figures like Turkey Tom, Some Ordinary Gamers, collaborators, and various commentators, giving the podcast an air of credibility and fun.
Oh, what is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the newest episode of the Some Ordinary Podcast. It is me with my alter ego, Mutahar, here, and we have, for the second time on the podcast, Turkey Tom. Last time I spoke to him, we watched dog hentai. So this is good. I'm happy that we're in a better context now.
For some context, you made me watch dog hentai.
I did not make you watch dog hentai.
You paid me $100,000 to watch dog hentai, which is the only reason I did that.
We had a
Hey guys, welcome back to the Some Ordinary Podcast. I'm the only person here that matters, and then there's everybody else.
Y'all
starting off strong.
Love that. Love that. This man, he's been high on Tate speech. We respect.
I've been hanging out with fashion.
By early 2023, the Some Ordinary Podcast had carved out a respectable niche. It wasn't the biggest show on YouTube, but it had a loyal following. But like many of Mutahar's ventures, its downfall would not be too far out. In mid-2024, long-simmering rumors about Nux Taku's ties to the controversial NSFW artist Shadman began resurfacing online. Shadman, known for creating explicit and often disturbing artwork featuring underage characters, had long been a radioactive name in the YouTube and art communities. At first, Nux Taku denied all these claims, saying that Shadman DM'd him some weird stuff out of the blue, and he'd made fun of it many times over on the podcast and also in videos, adding that he never commissioned, promoted, or was friends with Shadman. But then it was later revealed in an online forum that he once asked for a collaboration with Shadman and was lying to his audience. As those ties came under renewed scrutiny, fans began asking tough questions. Why was Nux still part of the show? Would Mutahar, the so-called reasonable guy, continue collaborating with someone now seen as morally compromised? The situation came to a head in July 2024, when Mutahar appeared on the Chud Logic livestream, a British political and commentary streamer known for interrogating YouTube controversies. It began as a casual discussion, but quickly turned into a bombshell revelation.
Must ask you something, okay? I'm hearing and seeing a lot of rumors and criticism of Nux Taku for his connection to Shadman that many are saying he's trying to disassociate himself from now because it's controversial. Do you have any perspectives or takes on that?
I haven't followed anything on it. I did have a call with him, and he did tell me like they interacted before. I think it was like the collab shit. Okay. And from just like behind the scenes, he told me that this was all like a joke or something at the time, which is like I never pressed so hard into that just because I have no knowledge of like how far his relationship goes. All I know about Shadman is like the last 6 days. There's been a mega leak of everyone's interactions, like Elvis the Alien, Nux, everyone. So it's like,
are you gonna keep him off the podcast?
Chud pressed Mutahar on the situation, asking if the podcast would continue amid the controversy.
Are you gonna keep him off the podcast?
No, we would cancel the podcast. It's not happening. The podcast is done.
This is hard because obviously, you know, people want me
podcast is done. Yeah, podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
He even elaborated, citing the recent wave of allegations and expressing discomfort with Nux's involvement.
Podcast is done, yeah. Podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Is that are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there, we're like, me and Caleb, we were just like, this is, I don't know.
Chud and his audience took him at his word. Within hours, YouTube commentary channels began reporting that Some Ordinary Podcast was officially over, framing the decision as Mutahar's moral stance against Nux Taku's associations. But then, only 4 days later, the final episode of the podcast dropped.
Start this show, The Gamer from Mars. And this week, we've got a lot to talk about because, my God, there's been misunderstandings, one of the largest YouTube empires, possibly on the verge of collapse, the fall of the Roman Empire, so to speak, and God knows what else in the fucking internet sphere, dude.
Yeah, holy what a ride.
So, first thing I want to address is, obviously, Nux. Nux, you've had a internet relationship with a internet bad guy known as Shadman that I guess we've all jumped into the vortex of. I just want to stress this podcast was never really ending because of that. It's a bit of a restructure. I did end up going out filming with Caleb, actually, in Stephenville, Texas, and there was a lot of I guess content plans that kind of came out of it. I really do like the IRL stream or IRL podcast kind of format, so it's a bit...
Not only had Mutahar claimed on a live stream that the show was cancelled, but he had given every indication that production had stopped completely. The release of a new episode without any clarification made it appear as though he had lied directly to Chud Logic's face. When Chud confronted him live, the exchange was tense.
Are you lying f***ing scumbag? What is your problem, dude? Why did you throw me under the bus for some dude that's got lolly in his videos? What is your problem?
Hello?
Mutahar initially didn't respond. A long, awkward silence filled the stream before he eventually joined the call. When he finally did speak, his tone was calm but evasive.
Word, obviously he was going for an interview, and the interview I believe never happened, so there's no way to go off on if he's like a Shadman defender.
Okay, this is all rambling that you're doing to distract from the issue, Mutahar. Let's cut to the chase here, okay? You said point A on my stream, okay, which gave one impression, and then you said point B. Point A being the podcast is ending, and it was very strongly implied it was because of Nux Taku, and then there's this investigation you apparently need to do, and then later
no,
like...
there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it was a stream. We got into it. I couldn't discuss this one business aspect at the time because we were severing ties. We had our contracts with the company. This was not something that I could get into.
It was a diplomatic answer, but it rang hollow. The timing, the wording, and the way he'd let speculation spread for days before clarifying all combined to make him look dishonest and manipulative. The backlash was spreading quickly. On Reddit, Mutahar's own community turned critical. The Some Ordinary Gamer subreddit got filled with posts questioning his integrity, with comments accusing him of playing both sides and talking like a PR rep instead of a real person. Over on Twitter, things got worse. Screenshots of conflicting statements circulated widely, alongside memes labeling him Muta the Gaslighter and pointing out your deception. To make matters worse, Mutahar's long-standing brand clashed violently with his new image of someone who blurred truth for convenience. His reputation for transparency, earned over a decade, began to fade. And this was only the beginning, because what came next was far worse. It started on the Some Ordinary Gamer subreddit, when a user unearthed an old collaboration video featuring Mutahar, Nuxtaku, Oompaville, recorded roughly 3 years prior. The clip showed the group reacting to hentai content, including scenes with sexualized depictions of underage characters in anime. At first, the video seemed like typical stuff from a bygone YouTube era, but in 2024, when Nuxtaku was already under scrutiny for alleged ties to Shadmen, the resurfaced footage hit like a bomb. Within hours, the controversy escaped Mutahar's community and hit the mainstream of online discourse, when Hassan Piker, one of Twitch's most watched political streamers, was shown the clip live by a viewer while reacting to one of Mutahar's unrelated videos criticizing Twitch. His chat exploded. Thousands of viewers spam Mutahar's name, memes, and accusations. What might have stayed a niche scandal in commentary circles was now front-page Twitch drama. Hassan's reaction went viral, and within 24 hours, Mutahar's name trended on Twitter.
Ali, shut up. Ain't no way. Ain't no way that Muta is in the lolly. No, I don't believe that. That sounds nuts. Wait, why is his account locked? Why is his account inactive, preventing impersonation? Wait, what? Wait, what? Resurface video of Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Nuxtaku watching lolly porn together on a Discord call?
Facing mounting pressure, Mutahar did what he always did in times of crisis. He made a video titled Post-Nux Clarity. The 39-minute upload was meant to be a clear-headed reflection on his friendship with Nuxtaku, an apology for the resurfaced clip, and an attempt at damage control.
Accountability to actual mistakes. Now, the thing about this is, obviously I can upload these kind of videos onto secondary platforms, but I really think for full effect, I should always upload to the main platform and really talk to you guys in a full level-headed way. Now, I have a Reddit board known as Some Ordinary Gamers, and you can post whatever memes and things you want all day, every day. But one of the clips that I saw, one of the things shared, was resurface video of Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Nuxtaku watching lolly together on a Discord call. So when I see this kind of stuff, it blows me, and obviously it flashbangs anybody, and I want to definitely have a talk about it and really explain to you exactly what this is, what it's about, give you my side of the perspective, and again, take accountability where accountability needs to be taken. But to go back to it, Nuxtaku is a former collaborator, a former friend of mine, and I mean really a former friend of mine, because some of the stuff that I've seen over here is disgusting enough that I really can't continue a friendship, and I really can't, like, again, excuse some of my behavior.
He explained that the clip was from 2021, that it had been recorded during a lighthearted group session, and he had no idea what the contents would be beforehand. He went on to condemn Nux directly.
Nuxtaku is a former collaborator, a former friend of mine, and I mean really a former friend of mine, because some of the stuff that I've seen over here is disgusting enough that I really can't continue a friendship, and I really can't, like, again, excuse some of my behavior watching some of this content as well. So this video that was uploaded with, again, Nuxtaku as Jeffrey Epstein and me as, I assume, Ghislaine Maxwell over here, Mutahar Nunt, right? So obviously in this clip, or in this video, there is a pretty big clip of me, Nuxtaku, and Quite, and Caleb basically watching and reviewing hentai together. Now, while all three of us were present in this video, this is a section from me, right? Now, obviously, these videos, according to how this video is played, was uploaded on YouTube. Now, for full context, when it comes to recording stuff, this was 3 years ago, so I don't remember everything done onto it. I don't think anybody can remember something they did 3 years ago, especially when you make videos nearly every day.
For a brief moment, some fans appreciated the honesty, but others noticed something off. The tone was less about accountability and more about self-preservation. It sounded like someone trying to get ahead of the narrative, not someone reflecting on a mistake. Ah, the classic asshole apology. I'm sorry you're offended. And then, as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. Within 6 hours, Mutahar deleted the video and replaced it with a short, vague written statement. He claimed he had resolved things privately with those involved and that the matter was better handled off camera. He described the upload as a bad decision made in frustration. The deletion of post-Nux clarity transformed a controversy into a full-blown character crisis, and his community reacted harshly. On Reddit, top comments accused him of deflecting and not taking accountability, and using apologies as performance pieces. Worse yet, Mutahar's reputation for moral clarity, the same trait that had once separated him from the average drama YouTuber, was now gone. Viewers began revisiting older contradictions. The Ethan Klein misfire, the completionist tax blunder, the conflicting statements on the Nux Taku podcast. Every inconsistency started to look like part of a larger pattern. In the weeks following, Mutahar announced in another video that he would be stepping away from drama content to focus on positive tech-based topics.
At least addressing why I took a hiatus a week and a half ago. See, I talk about taking accountability, and one of the accountability things that I want to take is making video titled Post-Nux Clarity about a week and a half ago, where, again, I took a matter that I probably should have handled over a phone call privately, and I made it a whole public thing for about, a few hours, and it's one of those things that I should have handled, again, privately, talking to Nux, somebody I worked with for years. Now, this was all in relation to a collaboration we did on his channel about, 2021, 2020 at this point, and it was one where, again, I had...
But by late 2024, he was right back at it, uploading commentary on Johnny Somali's drama and other controversies. The dissonance between his words and actions made fans cynical. The voice of reason was now seen as a serial opportunist, a man who pivoted his morals to match the public mood. Former collaborators like Nicholas Deorio, Turkey Tom, and Chud Logic all distanced themselves. The trust that had taken years to build had evaporated in months. But again, that wasn't the end of it. For years, Mutahar had built his brand on credibility. He wasn't just another YouTuber with opinions, he was, in his own words, a computer engineer, a cybersecurity expert, a programmer, and a video editor.
Regular job every day. I go to my office, I work, I come home, I cut together the video that I recorded the night, or 2 nights or whatever before, and I post that on the internet. It is a therapeutic, fun thing.
But I'm an engineer. I know how this stuff is going, so I'm not even speaking out of pocket right here, okay? If you want to disagree with me, feel free, but you're actually wrong. As somebody who is a computer, engineer, somebody who understands computer code, for instance, hearing Elon talk about computers and anything code related is actually mind-boggling.
It became a running motif across his videos, a badge of authority he would casually flash before diving into topics that most creators wouldn't touch. For his millions of followers, these credentials were what made his voice matter. When Mutahar spoke about hacking, privacy breaches, or tech-related scandals, people listened because they believed he was trained in that field. He was the internet's grounded truth-teller, a man who used his real-world expertise to cut through online noise. But in 2024, that carefully constructed image began to unravel, as Mutahar's claims about his professional background had grown increasingly ambitious.
Background, asking because a lot of CS knowledge. I did computer engineering when I went to college.
In some videos, he described himself as a software engineer, in others as a video editor for global film productions. On live streams, he even joked about nearly joining the Canadian Air Force before choosing a career in tech. The narrative fit perfectly with his persona, the disciplined, methodical engineer who traded in precision and integrity, but cracks began to form when critics, particularly Nick Andros, who's a small but really persistent YouTuber, began fact-checking his statements. Andros released a video alleging that Mutahar had fabricated his credentials, pointing to contradictions in his own uploads. In one clip, Mutahar referred to himself as a computer engineer. In another, as a video editor by trade. In yet another, he described himself as a college dropout.
By now, some of you longtime viewers know that by trade, what I do for a living is video editing. Video editing requires some pretty beefy computer hardware, and it's what I like to do. It's my job, and it's frankly how I put food on the table.
My job right now, I just sit around and trade and invest. That's what my job is.
Andros cross-referenced that claim with newer statements from Mutahar describing himself as an engineer and cybersecurity analyst, and the timeline didn't add up. If Mutahar was a dropout with no degree, how could he legally or ethically call himself an engineer?
I'm a video engineer now. I think I know how this works.
Speaking out of an engineer, like if I wasn't a computer science engineer, I wouldn't speak about Elon.
To put this in better perspective for you, in Ontario, Canada, where Mutahar resides, the title engineer is legally protected. Only licensed members of the Professional Engineers Ontario, those who have completed an accredited degree, passed professional exams, and demonstrated relevant work experience, are permitted to use the title professionally. Nick Andros highlighted this law in his expose, suggesting that Mutahar's repeated claims might actually constitute misrepresentation under provincial regulation, saying that it's actually illegal to call yourself an engineer in Ontario if you're not licensed by PEO. That's not an opinion. That's a matter of law.
It's actually illegal to call yourself an engineer if you are not a licensed engineer. The Ontario engineering regulatory body, Professional Engineers Ontario, claims to take offense to even titles like software engineer being used instead of software developer.
This claim alone sent shock through Mutahar's fan base. If true, it meant their favorite creator had been falsely presenting himself as a professional expert for over a decade. However, another creator, Harmful Opinions, decided to go further, contacting PEO directly to clarify whether Mutahar's statements broke any laws. Their official stance was more lenient than expected. While the PEO confirmed that only licensed individuals can professionally advertise or perform engineering services under that title, using the word engineer in an informal or entertainment context was unlikely to trigger enforcement.
Here's my 200 IQ master plan. I'm gonna get PEO officially saying he has done nothing illegal, and then make a hit piece on Nicandros for not reporting him and checking whether it was illegal or not, for being lazy.
In short, Mutahar hadn't committed a crime, but he had been misleading his audience for years. Mutahar's response came weeks later, buried in the middle of an unrelated upload. Without naming names, he addressed the growing accusations in a half-hearted apology that only seemed to dig the hole deeper.
Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not being a degree-holding engineer, then for that I do apologize. And I will denigrate myself to, I guess, programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers. That's what I'll leave it.
What made it worse was the hypocrisy. This was the same man who had spent years calling out others for dishonesty and embellishment. His entire reputation was built on holding others accountable, yet here he was dodging the same standard. In the weeks that followed, things only got worse. Instead of addressing the controversy directly, Mutahar began privating old videos, deleting tweets, and blocking critics across social media. The cleanup campaign had the opposite effect, drawing even more attention to the issue. You see, Mutahar's downfall wasn't the result of one isolated mistake or controversy. It was the culmination of consistent behavior that, when viewed in sequence, painted a really bad picture. By 2025, the man had become a case study himself in the very behaviors he spent his career criticizing. But despite everything, Mutahar continued uploading. His videos still draw respectable numbers, yet the weight that once accompanied his uploads had vanished.
We're going to be like the last ones to see Tana, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. And we're going to be like that little cherry on top, so that little whipped cream fluff frosting. Is it worth it? Hell yeah, it's worth it.
Let's go and take a picture, because this camera's like for the future.
Say it.
Walks up to me and he kind of like locks his arm around me, like around my neck like this, and it wasn't like it was like a chokehold or anything. It was very like firm and like tight, like I couldn't have really gotten it. How does that make sense?
At one point, he was the internet's sharpest weapon, the man behind Content Cop, a fearless critic known for taking down the platform's biggest names with humor and really brutal honesty. He built a reputation on literally being untouchable. He mocked Keemstar, exposed Leafy is Here, humiliated Tana Mojo, and tore into Rice Gum with a confidence that made him a symbol of authenticity online.
She tweeted some really nice things at me. Road trip! Just a quick little pit stop, just so we're in fighting form when we go visit Tana Mojo. Road trip! If I could clone Tana Mongoose, I would have 10,000 Tana Mongoose. Road trip! Going to the fucking 7th Street, San Francisco. Time to get some Tana Mongoose.
But today the camera lens is pointed at him because the story of iDubbbz is really not one of sustained greatness. It's a story of how he transformed, contradicted himself constantly, and ultimately collapsed. The very traits that made him a cultural icon would eventually pave the way for his downfall. His pivot from edgy comedy to documentary filmmaking, his marriage to fellow creator Anissa Joma, and her launch of an OnlyFans account in 2020 became flashpoints of controversy. His fiercest critics branded him a hypocrite, mocking him with the label cuck, while former fans accused him of abandoning the free speech values he once championed. Then came the Sam Hyde issue, a failed documentary project that left him publicly humiliated by one of the internet's most notorious trolls.
I think I'm crazy, but what they don't know is that this authentic ethnic head wrap enables me to move, shuck and jive, and groove like an ethnic person. Yeah. For the sake of argument, you come at me in a public situation, and
What followed was the ambitious rise of Creator Clash, a charity boxing event that began as one of the most praised influencer productions in history, only to spiral into lawsuits, financial losses, and catastrophic mismanagement.
Center. Folks, tonight's rules, we have a 3 knockdown rule in the state of Florida. No standing eights. The bouts are 5 rounds of 2 minutes each, with the main event being 4 rounds of 3 minutes each. This is a sanctioned event by the Florida State Athletic Commission. And as you see, folks, our first fight of the night, we have 2 of your favorite creators, Matt Watson versus...
The controversy surrounding Froggy Fresh's removal from the second event, the revelation that Ian and Anissa were entitled to 34% of profits before charities received a dime, and the collapse of Creator Clash 3 left their reputation in tatters. And perhaps most damning of all, Ian turned his crosshairs on Ethan Klein, a longtime friend and supporter, with a bizarre revival of Content Cop that dismissed Ethan's real-life harassment ordeal as trivial, while Ian wept on camera in front of a therapist.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the f***ing Jew bag, this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
That is the back and forth I'm describing. You might have thought we were just saying that Ian and Anissa are bad friends. Well, guess what? We didn't take it that way.
It was a betrayal that stunned the YouTube community and seemed to cement iDubbbz's fall from grace. So from the heights of Content Cop to the humiliation of being outplayed by Sam Hyde, from million-dollar charity events to losing hundreds of thousands, and from fearless critic to internet laughingstock, this is the rise and fall of iDubbbz. In 2012, Ian Carter quietly stepped into the chaotic world of YouTube. Like many aspiring creators of the time, his first uploads were simple gaming commentaries, let's plays, reaction-style narration, and offhand banter laid over low-stakes gameplay. These early videos failed to generate much traction, often blending into the sea of near-identical uploads flooding the platform. The content was mediocre by Ian's later standards, and over time, much of it was scrubbed from the internet. To the casual viewer, there was little to suggest that this unremarkable channel would soon produce one of YouTube's most feared and influential figures. The turning point, however, came in 2014 with a series called Kickstarter Craps. Here, Ian found his voice. The format was simple but deadly. He just had to pick a poorly conceived crowdfunding campaign, dissect its absurd promises, and deliver the critique with sharp satire and unapologetic mockery. Ian wasn't just criticizing failed projects, he was ridiculing the entitlement and delusion of people trying to cash in on gullible internet users.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to more Kickstarter crap. Today the piece of crap that we're looking at is called Paintball Panda, The Bamboo Tales, your new everyday game.
We're going to be talking about some of the features we've got in the game, and we've got a few photographs that are going to be dubbed in this as well. We don't want to go too far into anything because we don't want to have to spoil anything for you. It's going to be a surprise. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Junior here in a second.
I'm involved with level organization and recuperation here at Panda Studios, but I really don't want to get too much into detail. Let me pass it over to Kenny. What's up, dudes? This is Kenny. I'm in charge of freeform elements and tones and shades here at Panda Studios. I don't want to get too much into the details, into the nitty-gritty, but you could definitely expect a lot of different shades and tones in this game. So with that, I'll pass it over to my buddy, Bruce. Yo, what's up, guys? This is Bruce. I'm in charge of visual editing and software integration here at Panda Studios. You know, we got a lot of elements to introduce in this game and a lot of features, but I really don't want to get too much into detail, so let me pass it over to Freddy Krueger.
Whether it was shoddy products, laughably vague pitches, or outright scams, Ian's dry delivery and cutting humor gave audiences something new in a landscape dominated by safe, superficial commentary.
About it, and one of the reasons behind it, which is what they say, is that they don't want to spoil it, and I'll read a little bit from their description to give you an idea of what they're talking about. Please view my video. The video has all hand-drawn sketches photographed in order to keep from spoiling any of the actual game. I did not want to release any of the digital remasters of them. And read my story, anything is helpful. So,
Kickstarter Craps established the foundation of what would become the iDubbbz persona. Blunt, confrontational, and laced with a self-awareness that gave him an edge over competitors. This was no longer background noise in the YouTube algorithm. Ian Carter had carved out his first real niche and has taken on the role of a satirist, unafraid to embarrass his targets no matter how petty or ridiculous the subject matter. By 2015, the iDubbbz universe had split into distinct lanes. The main channel for investigations and takedowns, and the side channel for problematic palate cleansers like bad unboxings and low-stake food reviews.
the snack that we're looking for today is the dill pickle. North American dill pickle. We're gonna go deeper. They tend to hang out where it's the wettest. Oh. Be quiet, be quiet.
Those series did more than fill upload gaps. They built a cult around Ian's delivery. Deadpan, antagonistically curious, and willing to turn even fan mail into a whole thing. The shtick hardened his niche and gave him a loyal audience primed for something sharper. That something arrived with Content Cop in 2015, a format that codified his approach to internet critique. Each episode followed a clear and familiar structure. Ian would appear dressed as a police officer, open with a mock introduction, then present a collection of clips that showed a pattern in the creator he was targeting.
What we do here is go back.
He would analyze their behavior point by point, exposing hypocrisy, laziness, or contradictions, while mixing in jokes and skits that made his criticisms hit harder.
Who is this cute little lesbian, and how tight is her pussy? Yo, what's going on, everybody? Receding hairline here. I'm sure you guys went and saw the Leafy response video already, where he systematically dismantled each and every one of my arguments.
Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me.
The first thing I'd like to address is how frequently Leafy's playing the victim card. I mean, it's really hard to believe from someone like Leafy. That's what he criticized Keemstar for doing.
In the early days, he went after reaction channels who recycled other people's videos with little effort, and food reviewers who made low-effort, repetitive content. The message behind every episode was the same. If you're gonna make money from a type of content, you should take it seriously. Otherwise, expect to be called out for it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Content Cop. Last week we looked at Jinx Reload, and even though we made a pretty good case for why his parody interviews are f***ing awful, he's uploaded 2 more since then. There's probably a ton coming down the pipeline as I speak. In Jinx's response video to the haters, he mentions cancer. He mentions it a lot, alright? And he speaks about it very lightheartedly, you know, as if there's no one in the audience who has a friend or a family member who suffers from cancer. And it made me sick, you know? There's really no place in this YouTube community for someone who jokes about cancer,
so lightheartedly. He acted as if there's no one in the world who suffers from cancer. It's like, dude, come on. Specifically, the food reviewers who review food from inside of their car. As a content cop, I got a meat quota for the month, just like any cop does. And this means that I can't put all my time, energy, and resources into making a big bust like Jinx, alright? So every now and again, I'm going to be looking at some projects like I'm going to be looking at today that aren't necessarily, you know, felony charges. They're probably misdemeanors, a small citation here and there, going 30 FPS into 60, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind as we go forward. I can't make the big busts all the time, alright? I got to do... Look at this, guys. I'm doing a bunch of research over here. I can't be making these big busts every week, alright? There's only so many Sam Peppers to pepper spray. So many SoFlo Antonios to look like a big-nosed piece of shit. Today we're going to be looking at all the food review channels that can't help but do the exact same thing as every f***ing other food.
Content Cop became a whole event on YouTube after its biggest episodes. His video on Keemstar accused the drama news host of being careless and vindictive.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another legit rat review. On today's episode, we're going to check out a channel that's best known for the phrase, "Nick!" Another gem includes, "Hey, everyone type Alex is a stupid nigger in chat." Now, I'm not going to be using any of these classic lines as argument points in this video. Instead, I'm going to use them for comedic relief. There are plenty of other things to insult the rat for. He's manipulative, cunty, hypocritical, makes horrible content, extremely unfunny, cringy. It's kind of like picking on Tommy NC, really.
His Leafy is Here episode exposed the cruelty and hypocrisy in Leafy's bullying-style content.
So today we're going to be talking about the god of YouTube, the man, the myth, the used car salesman.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Content Cop. As you can probably tell, I can hardly contain myself right now, because today is the day we get to bully Leafy.
The Tana Mojo episode challenged her moral posturing when she had done the same things she condemned others for.
All of you turning on me breaks my heart. And
I know it's very hard to listen to all the logic with all the tears going on, but just tune out the crying for a moment and realize that she's a complete hypocrite by complaining about all the hate in the comments, and then on her live stream, this cunt, I hope he breaks both of his legs and loses all the subscribers. But all this hate in the comments, it's okay when I'm hating, but when other people are hating me, strictly off limit.
And with Rice Gum, Ian turned the criticism into entertainment by releasing a diss track, Asian Jake Paul, alongside musician Boy in a Band. The video exploded across YouTube, earning tens of millions of views and cementing iDubbbz as a household name online.
I wanna be gay, cause you're f***ing, I wanna savor it. But it's cool, after smashing you, I'll PayPal you $2. Oh no, you getting mad and knock the phone right out of my hand? That was king absurd. You're a rapper who can't resolve shit with words? How about you need some paste? Hey, is that your IQ or your aim? Say your audience face, hey, how Jacob's notorious ace. Say you look afraid, must have seen a ghost spider. Well, ditto little, but I'm not scared to show mine. Woo! You've been pretending ever since your little rice bowls descended. Let kids think you did it all when we're capable of making a playground insult. That's bad. But then I heard you tried to rap. I was more disappointed than when I found out Casey Neistat didn't have Neistat.
By this period, iDubbbz wasn't just influential, he was appointment viewing, and the YouTuber's YouTuber label stuck because creators watched to see who'd be next, and what rulebook he'd write by dismantling someone else's. The style felt fearless, and to fans, refreshingly self-aware. Ian rarely positioned himself as Puritan. He foregrounded his own edgelord humor and hypocrisies to spike accusations of sanctimony, then pressed on with the critique anyway. That posture made the punchlines more dangerous. The audience understood he wasn't claiming spotless virtue, he was claiming superior reasoning, receipts, and comedic timing. It also meant no one felt safe. Friendships and audience overlap offered no immunity once a pattern of laziness, dishonesty, and exploitation was in his sights. At the center of the era was a clear philosophy of comedy and speech. The Tana Mojo episode crystallized it in plain language. Either it's all okay, or none of it is. In context, he used the line to reject selective outrage, especially when creators condemned offensive language publicly while using it privately or leveraging it when convenient. Fans celebrated the stance as internally consistent. Critics argued it flattened context and power dynamics. But there was no mistaking its appeal. It gave Ubbs a simple, memorable rule set that framed his harshest bits as principled rather than purely provocative. From 2015 to 2017, the series sat at peak cultural influence on YouTube. The channel gained millions of subscribers, individual episodes clocked 8-figure view counts, and the Content Cop uniform itself became a memeable artifact of the platform's golden age of creator-on-creator accountability.
Hey there folks, I'm the Content Cop. I'm here to make sure everyone's content is up to par, and if it's not, I'll bring them to...
Follow-up videos are sometimes labeled as content deputy, keeping pressure on targets trying to wriggle out of initial criticisms, reinforcing the sense that iDubbbz wasn't chasing drama, he was closing cases.
What we do here is go back.
By the end of 2017, Ian Carter had built more than a hit series. He'd established an enforcement mechanism inside creator culture. Bad unboxings and food reviews made the audience laugh. Content Cop made the whole ecosystem look over its shoulder. In 2016, at TwitchCon in San Diego, Ian Carter's life took a turn that would profoundly shape both his personal trajectory and professional reputation. It was there that he met Anissa Joma, a Canadian streamer who would later become his wife. Their first interaction was born out of the same kind of online banter Ian had cultivated on Twitter. Memes, spam tweets, and inside jokes. Anissa recalled in a later Q&A video that she reached out because Ian seemed bored, and what began as casual messages quickly evolved into a relationship. At first, fans welcomed the pairing. To an audience used to seeing Ian primarily as the sardonic, abrasive host of Content Cop, the relationship seemed wholesome. Anissa was open about her support for his content, even appearing in videos where she stood by his edgy critiques of figures like Tana Mojo and Rice Gum. At this early stage, many saw her presence as stabilizing, a sign that Ian had found companionship without compromising his creative edge. But Anissa carried her own online history, one that critics would weaponize almost immediately. She had been branded in the early Twitch community as a booby streamer, which is a dismissive term used for women who gained attention by leaning into sexuality on stream. Later, Anissa would claim she had left Twitch by choice and distance herself from that persona, but detractors quickly pointed out inconsistencies in her timeline, showing that her account had in fact been banned before she changed her narrative. Beyond Twitch, Anissa had also uploaded videos that contradicted her later progressive positioning. In her early YouTube content, she mocked feminists, posted anti-feminist commentary, and created short rants ridiculing weak men in dating context.
You know what Ian would make?
What?
I said, do you know what Ian would make?
What do you mean?
Like, what he would be good at?
What?
You know those, like...
I'm curious to know.
You know, like in Aladdin, you know, Apu, the like little monkey dude who dances on the street for money.
You think, okay.
Clips resurfaced of her giving harsh, almost sneering advice about relationships, fueling claims that she was opportunistic and dishonest about her past stances.
Chill on like asking, you know, if Ian's here or whatever. Like, I get it's funny or whatever, but I don't know, I've spent like the past 4 years living in his shadow, so to speak, and like I've been trying to do my own thing on the internet for 7 years before I even met him, and it is painful. So that'd be great. yeah, I'd rather have 5 people want to be here for me than like a bunch asking for Ian. Thanks.
Discord leaks added fuel to the fire. Logs showed her expressing insecurities about relationships, inconsistencies about her own story, and a pattern of embellishing or shifting details depending on the audience.
Ian told me I should ignore this comment, and I probably should. When the drama was going on, that's all we did was ignore shit like this, and it worked out like pretty well, but it's really hurting me, and it's been hurting me for a long time, and I at least want to like clarify or talk about this in general. So yeah. Basically, the reason why this guy is commenting that is because there were like Discord messages that were leaked from like 2016, 2017 of me venting to people who at the time I thought were friends about Ian, because we were going through a huge, like, monumental fight. We were going through a lot. Because believe it or not, like, dating for somebody like Ian is very difficult. I mean, that shouldn't surprise you. During those Discord messages, I was so emotional. I said shit that I didn't mean. I called him selfish. I said that his room was messy, which, like, does it surprise you that Ian's room is messy? No. Was it good? No. I really regret it. I'm super embarrassed, and I'm sorry.
By late 2016 into 2017, Anissa had become more than just Ian's girlfriend. She was now a central figure in his evolution. Whether fairly or not, audiences began attributing Ian's softening tone and eventual departure from edgier content to her influence. The wholesome relationship that once earned fan support had, in the eyes of many, become the fault line dividing old iDubbbz from the newer, more self-reflective version that emerged in the years to follow. By 2018, the landscape of YouTube had shifted dramatically. The adpocalypse fallout was still reshaping what content could thrive on the platform, and iDubbbz's trademark edgelord persona felt increasingly incompatible with the new rules. After years of wielding Content Cop as the internet's sharpest scalpel, uploads slowed, and when they did arrive, they revealed a different Ian. The loud, fearless critic was fading into the background, replaced by a creator searching for a new form of relevance. That new form came in the shape of documentary filmmaking. Rather than lampooning creators from a distance, Ian began embedding himself into their lives, capturing their struggles, quirks, and eccentricities with a more cinematic eye. His first major swing was Full Force, a feature-length documentary about Airsoft Fatty, an overweight Star Wars enthusiast and amateur content creator from Michigan. The film dove into Fatty's life, his health problems, friendships, obsessions, and the sad comedy of his environment. What might have been a cruel takedown in Ian's earlier years became something far more nuanced, part satire, part human study.
Holy
I'll get several drinks in me. It's not wise to piss off a drunk old Jedi.
It's about the equivalent of a medium shield. I like my beans.
There's still Sith out there. If you don't think so, then you're wrong.
Cooking with Fatty. Meat salad.
You're funny if you think you could take mine from me.
You're still hitting full force, dude! Ow! Ah! 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 Dude! Stop doing full force!
Full Force was a massive success, pulling in over 25 million views and quickly becoming the most watched video on Ian's channel. Critics and fans alike praised the project's production value, storytelling, and balance of humor with empathy. For many, it proved Ian wasn't just a provocateur, he was capable of creating work that could stand alongside mainstream documentaries while still carrying the iDubbbz wit. Emboldened, Ian followed up with Ice Cream Man, a documentary centered on Dax Flame, a once famous YouTuber whose socially awkward persona made him a cult figure during the platform's early days. The film explored Dax's attempt to reinvent himself and find footing after years of obscurity.
It's December 6, 2006, and, well, let me just start by saying I'm happy to see you.
Who is Dax Flame?
Dax Flame is an enigma.
I did see Sophia in the hallway today.
I find him to be one of the most interesting people I've ever met because I feel like there's so much more going on that he doesn't talk about.
I just said, do you want to go dance with me? She said, I don't know you.
I think that was the whole draw of Dax Flame. Is it real or not? Right. You know?
I met Mr. Dax Flame.
I opened the window this morning, but I closed it now.
Coolest kid I've ever met. Oh my god. So cool. And, real. Yes, quite real.
You know, when I think of Dax Flame, it's almost this sense of disruptive, socially awkward content.
Oh god.
Though it earned a respectable 5 million plus views, it didn't generate the same resonance as Full Force. Many felt that Dax lacked the chaotic charisma of Airsoft Fatty, and the project seemed to show how hard it was to bottle lightning twice. But the success was undeniable still. These two projects signaled Ian's pivot from edgy critic to serious documentarian. He had gone from tearing people down with savage edits and biting satire to presenting creators in all their contradictions, letting the audience form their own judgments. It was a move that divided his fanbase. Some praised the ambition and maturity, seeing Ian as an artist evolving beyond the shock jock label. Others mourned the loss of the old iDubbbz, the one who declared either it's all okay or none of it is, and wasn't afraid to torch reputations with a single upload. By the end of 2019, Ian Carter had made his choice clear. Content Cop was dormant, the edgy persona was gone, and iDubbbz was now in the business of documentaries. But while the pivot earned him critical praise, it also planted the first seeds of the audience split that would haunt every step of his career moving forward. You see, in March 2020, the carefully balanced image Ian Carter had been cultivating since his transition into documentary filmmaking collapsed under the weight of one announcement. Anissa Joma launched an OnlyFans account. There were so many accusations of hypocrisy and betrayal. For years, Ian had built his reputation on savaging dishonesty and inconsistency, positioning himself as the YouTuber who would hold others accountable without fear. Now, critics argued, he was being exposed as the very thing he once ridiculed. Memes branding him a cuck spread like crazy, flooding Twitter timelines and YouTube comment sections. What had once been a fiercely loyal audience suddenly turned on him, seeing his defense of Anissa not as admirable loyalty, but as weakness. Ian didn't stay silent. He responded by speaking directly to his audience and rejecting the criticism outright. He reframed sex work as a valid and legitimate form of labor, arguing that there was nothing inherently shameful about Anissa's decision. He dismissed those mocking him as immature, claiming that their outrage said more about their own insecurities than it did about his relationship. While the reception of this was a bit uneven, the most surprising of them all was when one of his ops from his earlier days, Leafy is Here, took the opportunity to take jabs of his own. But instead of quelling the outrage, Ian's response poured fuel on the fire. Longtime fans who had once rallied behind his either everything is okay or nothing is philosophy now accused him of selective morality. They claimed he had no problem mocking others for personal choices, yet suddenly demanded empathy and understanding when it came to his own life. To them, this was evidence that Anissa had reshaped Ian into someone unrecognizable. He was now more controlled, hypocritical, and unwilling to apply his old standards to himself. The backlash didn't just bruise his reputation, it created an inflection point. For the first time in his career, the fanbase fractured. One side defended his maturity, praising him for standing by his partner and rejecting the toxic edgelord persona. On the other side, the larger and louder factions saw it as proof that Ian Carter, once the YouTuber's YouTuber, had fallen from grace. But that wasn't all. If Ian Carter's career had already been shaken by the OnlyFans fallout, the next chapter nearly broke it. In 2021, Ian set out to film what was supposed to be the centerpiece of his new era as a documentarian, a feature-length project on comedian and provocateur Sam Hyde. On paper, it seemed like the perfect fit. Hyde was infamous for his shock humor, surreal comedy sketches, and all, so it made him an ideal subject for iDubbbz's probing lens.
I think I'm crazy, but what they don't know is that this authentic ethnic head wrap enables me to move, shuck and jive, and groove like an ethnic person. Yeah. For the sake of argument, you come at me in a public situation, and
But almost immediately, the project spiraled into disaster. Hyde and his crew saw Ian coming a mile away, and rather than cooperating, they decided to turn the tables. What followed was an elaborate series of staged humiliations. First, a fake girlfriend was introduced to mislead Ian. Rooms were staged with bizarre props and contrived chaos. The entire environment was constructed to confuse, frustrate, and embarrass him. While Ian tried to maintain the posture of a serious filmmaker, Hyde orchestrated a circus designed to mock that very ambition.
Anyway, the documentary iDubbbz came out to shoot.
Yeah.
Because we want to release our footage from that.
Yeah.
Because the footage, I don't think the footage is going to be released.
Gotcha.
What do you think about that? Here's the thing. We don't want to like put iDubbbz on blast or do anything weird. iDubbbz came out. He shot a like documentary with me and Nick and the crew here, and I think I probably blew it personally with him, and it's through no fault of his. Whatever. I sent him it doesn't even matter. I think I probably kind of like overwhelmed him. He was on Twitter. He was on Twitter trying to line up fights with people. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, can you get me in there? Let me get a fight with Fantano. And I think I bothered him too much. Something like that. I wasn't like an asshole or anything, but I think I probably just texted him too many times. Anyway, part of it was like he was gonna come out and see like where was I in my career after having like fallen off or whatever. And I wanted to be like, well, we're just rapping. We're just like we're like laying down tracks now and rapping all day.
All day.
And Joey was like doing all this like yo, check it out. This is kind of like a Drake beat. Like making him listen to beats and shit. Record a lot of bad rap music, stage fright where Sam re-records breaths, insists the auto-tune's in the wrong key, super quiet ad-libs, like a song with the hook swag like iDubbbz. Stage fight over who gets to use the alias Cream Boy. Keep picking up takes and blame someone else. Oh man.
Then came the coup de grace. Before Ian could even release his version of the documentary, Sam Hyde preemptively uploaded his own cut of the footage, edited to maximize Ian's awkwardness and paint him as hopelessly out of his depth.
And the problem is that we shot a ton of funny stuff. And we took like 2 weeks of our time and shot a bunch of shit that's like really awesome. And we spent like, we rented all that shit. We
rented a T-Rex.
Spent $15,000 on the thing. So we got to release our footage.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Here's what happened.
Jet's cutting it up, and it's not to like.
This what happened.
It's not to make iDubbbz look stupid or anything, or like do anything like. Oh, burn! We took your documentary footage and released it first, dude. No, it's just like we spent $15,000 on this.
Yeah.
We took 9 months to make or it's been 9 months, and there's no communication, and we did we spent 2 weeks of time. That's what I'm more worried about. So. We're just going to cut together our footage in like the funniest way. We're not going to try to make anyone look bad. We're going to take whatever's funny moments, make a cool cut out of it. So I think that's.
I would do that.
I think that's fair.
If I spent $15,000 on something,
is that fair?
The internet latched onto Hyde's version, and overnight, Ian became the punchline of his own project. By the time his official cut, Getting Away With It, dropped, the damage was done. Audiences found it meandering, confused, and flat compared to Hyde's tight, mocking counter-narrative. The release is judged to have failed spectacularly, and for many viewers, it felt like the moment Ian had been decisively outplayed. The fallout was catastrophic, but more importantly, it created a rivalry that would haunt him. Sam Hyde, emboldened by the humiliation, leaned into the role of Ian's most persistent enemy. He called Ian a cuck at every opportunity, mocked his relationship, and made his exclusion from Creator Clash events into a recurring public feud.
Sam Hyde, the man banned from the Creator Clash. How are you feeling, Sam?
Banned again, blacklisted again. No fun for me.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
I did get all expense access.
I thought it was funny how
Hyde didn't just embarrass iDubbbz, he ensured that the humiliation would follow him for years to come, poisoning his fan base's perception of him even further. A few years later, by 2022, influencer boxing had become this huge thing and had morphed into one of the internet's strangest and most lucrative events. With names like Jake Paul and KSI transforming the once joke concept into legitimate pay-per-view attractions, the scene was ripe for innovation. Ian Carter and Anissa Joma saw their opportunity. Rather than chasing personal glory or clout, they announced Creator Clash, a boxing event built around one core promise: charity first.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to sunny Tampa, Florida. We are in the Yuengling Center tonight. Built in 1980, but we're bringing it to you in 2022 for the Creator Clash, where all of your favorite content creators will be settling their differences, not with the camera, but in the ring with gloves on. Folks, I cannot wait to see these creators go at it. This is the Creator Clash live from the Yuengling Center. I am your host, Wade Plemons from The Wade Concept. To my right, I have one of the most recognizable men, not only to this crowd here, but to you at home, Moist Critical.
I'm super excited to be here. This is probably the first.
The idea was rather quite simple. Instead of celebrities pocketing millions, all profits would be donated. Fighters would be drawn from across the YouTube, Twitch, and creator spectrum, would be paid respectable stipends of $15,000 to $20,000, enough to cover training and expenses, but the real goal was raising money for good causes. This framing gave Creator Clash an edge over the cynical, cash grab reputation that surrounded most influencer boxing. The gamble worked. On fight night, 100,000 people bought the pay-per-view, and the event raised over $1.3 million for charity. The card featured a diverse mix of creators: Harley Morenstein of Epic Mealtime, Dr. Mike, Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps, and more, delivering surprisingly entertaining fights. Production was smooth, the fighters looked prepared, and the event quickly gained a reputation as the best-run YouTuber boxing show to date.
When you're just going to the gym, and to me, this is like a challenge. Like, I don't know what to expect, so I have to give it my all.
We are here with Dr. Mike for the True King, the main event of all the boxing matches for tonight. Doctor, what's your diagnosis for tonight?
The diagnosis is I'm about to prescribe these hands.
Okay, very good. The lights are shining bright. It's very, very intense. There's a lot of pressure out there. How do you feel going into it?
Pressure? We prepared. I got my crew here. They told me what's what. I'm ready to go.
All right, there's a lot of hype. There's been a lot of hype for this. iDubbbz has been trying to get something like this going for months and months before it finally actually happened. You stepped up to the plate. What was the deciding factor? What really made you want to go for it?
I've been boxing ever since I lost my mom in medical school. And when I started, I dreamt of...
For Ian, it was validation. After years of controversy and failed pivots, he had finally found a lane where critics and fans alike praised his work. But even in triumph, issues appeared. Behind the scenes, Ian made the decision to blacklist Sam Hyde from the event, despite Hyde having trained Harley Morenstein for his fight. The exclusion was deliberate, a continuation of the feud that began with getting away with it. To Hyde, it was confirmation that Ian was afraid of him. But to Ian, it was about protecting the event's image from a provocateur who thrived on controversy. This decision ensured that Hyde remained entwined with Creator Clash even in absence. Harley's association with him stoked tensions, and the feud escalated publicly. What should have been Ian Carter's cleanest win in years carried the seeds of future disaster. Still, Creator Clash 1 stood as the pinnacle of his reinvention. A flawlessly executed event, real money raised for charity, and praise from all corners of the internet. However, this would be the last time iDubbbz stood unquestionably at the top of his game. The goodwill Ian Carter and Anissa Joma had earned with the success of Creator Clash 1 evaporated almost overnight with the lead-up to its sequel in 2023. What should have been a chance to build on their momentum instead became a case study in mismanagement and self-inflicted damage. The trouble began with Froggy Fresh, a novelty rapper turned internet personality who had been scheduled to fight in the event. Weeks before the show, he was abruptly kicked from the card. The reason wasn't poor training or behavioral issues, it was that Froggy had chosen to train with Ian's nemesis, Sam Hyde.
Kicked from the card was for collaborating with Sam Hyde. And, for anyone who's been following the story, that's, fairly obvious. Froggy has explained, his side of the story multiple times. And unfortunately, he's been perpetuating a narrative that it's about OnlyFans, or that it's about Anissa's mom, and that's extremely deceptive.
Ian and Anissa admitted the Hyde connection was the sole reason for Froggy's removal. To many, it looked like personal insecurity trumped professionalism. The internet erupted. Major creators like Moist Critical, Gideon, and Keemstar publicly sided with Froggy, framing Ian as hypocritical and tyrannical for punishing a fighter simply for associating with his rival, while creators like Keemstar called out Froggy for trying to play games with Ian and Anissa.
It's like you came back and you were a pawn in some game of 4D chess, and I think you found out that iDubbbz and Anissa don't play games.
The controversy snowballed further when Froggy revealed he had been threatened with a lawsuit and told to repay his $15,000 stipend for training, an amount that had originally been positioned as non-refundable support.
That he's running is suing people. It's like a complete flip.
By the way, we weren't suing Froggy. We have no interest in going to court over $15,000. We wanted that $15,000 back, but, you know, he wasn't giving it to us. So we have to leave it at that. You know, we're not suing him.
Despite the host of issues that came up, the event went forward, but the glow of Creator Clash 1 was gone. Instead of headlines about charitable success, reports surfaced that Creator Clash 2 had lost $250,000. Many dissected the missteps. Fighter stipends remained lavish, but organizers spent heavily on luxury hotels, unnecessary perks, and even trauma therapy costs for fighters. Marketing was anemic compared to the first year, and ticket sales lagged. What had been hailed as the best-run YouTuber boxing event now looked bloated and amateurish. Worse than the financial loss was the reputational collapse. What fans once saw as a wholesome, charity-first effort now looked like a vanity project plagued by personal grudges. Ian's decision to blacklist Froggy for working with Hyde cemented the perception that he was petty, thin-skinned, and incompetent as an organizer. The feud with Sam Hyde, which had already haunted his documentary career, was now undermining the boxing events that were supposed to be his redemption. By the end of 2023, Creator Clash was no longer seen as the bright future of influencer boxing. It was a sinking ship, weighed down by mismanagement and ego. And with each misstep, Ian Carter's once formidable reputation slipped further into decline. By early 2025, Creator Clash 3 was announced, and despite the stumbles of the previous year, there was a flicker of hope. Some fans were cautiously optimistic. If Ian Carter could learn from past mistakes, the event might recapture the magic of the first installment. The charity angle still had pull, and many were willing to give him one last chance. That optimism didn't last long. In March 2025, Ethan and Hila Klein of H3H3 became targets of a disturbing harassment campaign, and Ethan mentioned on stream that his family contracted Giardia from their dog. Anonymous trolls twisted the narrative into claims of neglect and filth. It escalated into a false CPS report, with Child Protective Services showing up at their home under accusations that their child was crawling around in unsanitary conditions. For Ethan and Hila, it was deeply traumatic, and they expected public solidarity from friends like Ian and Anissa, who they had defended in the past.
I almost quit when she called me, because Harley was out, I was talking to Harley was talking about his frustrations. I'm 44 freaking years old. This is high school garbage.
Well, this is a video I didn't want to make, but here we are. You didn't know, Creator Clash 3 is canceled. It's completely over. It's done. It's not happening. But I was hoping and trying and praying it would work out and things would be fine and I'd be able to box for my third time. I'd have a trilogy in Creator Clash and I'd have 3 first round wins. That was my goal and that was my plan. I started training last November. And now here in July, I'm finally on pause.
But no such support came. Instead, Ian aligned himself more closely with the Hassan Piker and Denim's online orbit, a group openly critical of Ethan. His silence in the face of the CPS harassment was viewed as a betrayal by Ethan and Hila, who openly called him out for lacking a spine. To them, it wasn't just about friendship, it was simply about basic decency.
Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
Then came April, and with it, Ian's most shocking move yet. The revival of Content Cop. But instead of targeting a scammer or clout chaser, Ian used his legendary series to attack his former friend Ethan Klein. The video was bizarre and hostile from the start. with Ian repeating the phrase "Wake up, Ethan" in a mocking chant. His central claim was that Ethan's content on the Leftovers podcast amounted to propaganda, and that Ethan wasn't qualified to handle political discussions and instead polluted them with misinformation.
I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke, and he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb is telling you to wake up.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up. Since anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm missing. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra.
The most striking omission was Ian's refusal to acknowledge the CPS incident, the very reason Ethan had criticized him. Instead, he framed Ethan and Hila's outcry as an overreaction and dismissed their trauma entirely, focusing only on how their criticisms hurt him. The video spiraled further when Ian brought in therapist Dr. Kirk Honda to analyze Ethan's behavior. This led to an overwhelming amount of hate. Within days, the video amassed thousands of hateful comments as the fans were roasting Ian relentlessly. Once the ultimate internet critic, he now looked like a man weaponizing his old format to lash out at a friend who had once stood by him. What was meant to be a career-defining comeback for Content Cop instead marked a new low. The betrayal of Ethan Klein, coupled with the disastrous optics of crying on camera while dismissing real harassment, left Ian Carter more alienated than ever. The decline was, at this point, undeniable. The blowback to the Ethan Klein Content Cop quickly bled into the already shaky foundation of Creator Clash 3. What little optimism fans had held on to began to unravel as the event itself collapsed in real time. The first major blow came when Harley Morenstein, one of the marquee fighters from the inaugural Creator Clash, announced he was dropping out. Although he never gave a full public explanation, speculation tied his exit to Ian's political affiliations and the bitter fallout with Ethan. Days later, Lena Ayad, another fighter on the card, also pulled out, leaving the lineup thinner and less appealing. Behind the scenes, ticket sales were a disaster. Organizers quietly removed entire sections of seating to make the venue appear less empty. What had once been a sellout success was now visibly struggling to fill the room. In a scramble to save face, Ian began DMing random creators, trying to recruit replacements for the fighters who had abandoned ship. Almost universally, the answer was the same: no. Rather than de-escalating, Ian chose to escalate. In May 2025, he released a follow-up video, a so-called content deputy aimed at doubling down on his feud with Ethan. Instead of addressing fan concerns or acknowledging his missteps, Ian insisted that Ethan was responsible for the backlash against Creator Clash.
Ian and Anissa, masters of putting on an event.
He's reposting random troll accounts that are very easy to vet. If you click on this profile, it has a bunch of Sam Hyde adjacent posts, and it just hates Anissa and I. Come on, dude, you're one step away from calling me a cuck. Just take the plunge. He's highlighting this post that equates Creator Clash to a crypto rug pull. He's saying the event is gonna be worse than TanaCon. Can't wait for them to blame us for their failed event. Don't worry, Hila, I'm not gonna blame you guys for anything Creator Clash related. I know you're terrified of taking accountability for anything, so that will rest solely on my shoulders. But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it. Now, with this recent revelation...
The most damaging part of the video came when Ian attempted to rationalize the CPS call against Ethan and Hila, suggesting that it was a reasonable concern given Ethan's on-stream comments about his child and their dog. For many, this was the ultimate betrayal, excusing a false report that could have endangered a friend's family.
That is the back and forth I'm describing. You might have thought, we were just saying that Ian and Anissa are bad friends. Well, guess what? We didn't take it that way.
He then dismissed the overwhelming 500,000 dislikes on his original Content Cop as fabricated, claiming that dislike extensions were unreliable and that the numbers were fake. By this point, the response was merciless. he started getting mocked relentlessly. Creator Clash, once the crown jewel of Ian's reinvention, now looked less like a charity milestone and more like a public implosion. The final nail in the coffin for Ian Carter's reinvention came not from a feud or a poorly received video, but from later revelations that stripped away the very premise of Creator Clash itself. The event, sold to fans and fighters alike as a selfless act of charity, was suddenly exposed as something far murkier and far more self-serving. Reports surfaced that Ian and Anissa were entitled to 34% of all event profits before any money reached charity. For supporters who had donated or bought tickets under the assumption that the show was a non-profit effort, the news was devastating. It transformed the narrative from YouTubers fighting for good causes into a vanity project disguised as philanthropy. Former commentator Wade Plemons added fuel to the fire when he confirmed suspicions that Creator Clash had been structured less like a charity fundraiser and more like a VidCon-style influencer party. According to Wade, the branding may have emphasized charity, 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 but behind the scenes, the focus was on the show itself. Flying in hundreds of creators, providing luxury accommodations, and turning the weekend into a networking retreat under the guise of altruism.
To finish. And that is, at the very least, a lack of communication. At the very worst, a full-on scandal. So let's break this entire thing down and talk about what went wrong with Creator Clash.
There's a lot of things that we want to talk about, but first and foremost, we want to announce that Creator Clash 3 is moving dates and locations. October 25th, 2025 is the new date for Creator Clash, and now it is taking place at the Hollywood Palladium here in Los Angeles, California. Well, thank you. Wow. We don't have hype men, so I guess that's... with that comes a couple questions about ticket sales. A lot of people bought tickets for the Amelie Arena show. All those will be refunded.
The first thing I want to break down for you here is I happen to know the Hollywood Palladium. I'm going to do this video from the perspective of...
Trainers who worked with Ian revealed even more damning details. Over 300 creators had been flown in, housed in high-end hotels at enormous expense, eating into the very funds that were supposed to go to charity. The extravagance wasn't just wasteful, it undermined the whole pitch of Creator Clash as a noble endeavor. At the same time, Ian's personal credibility took another hit. Trainers described how Anissa micromanaged his preparation, telling him when he was hungry or tired, and often pulling him away from the boxing community instead of allowing him to build connections. One insider even claimed that Anissa openly showed a crush on one of Ian's sparring partners, paying close attention to his sessions and allegedly granting him special access to the event. Whether true or not, the rumors deepened the perception that Ian was no longer in control of either his career or his public image. The combination of financial revelations, insider testimony, and personal drama shattered what little faith the audience still had in Creator Clash. The charity brand was destroyed. By mid-2025, the illusion had collapsed completely. Creator Clash was no longer a beacon of hope, it was a scandal. And Ian Carter, once the YouTuber's YouTuber, stood exposed as the face of it. To make matters worse, among the strangest and most telling chapters of Ian Carter's downfall came not from a mainstream critic or a longtime rival, but from someone who had once been firmly in his corner. Nathan Barnett. Barnett wasn't just another YouTuber, he had fought in Creator Clash, supported the mission, and publicly praised Ian's vision when the event was still seen as groundbreaking. But as the financial mismanagement, hypocrisy, and personal controversies piled up, even Dad could no longer stand by. He turned critic, openly calling out Ian and Anissa for their hypocrisy and mismanagement, demanding transparency about where the charity money had really gone.
It's completely over. It's done. It's not happening. But I was hoping and trying and praying it would work out and things would be fine and I'd be able to box for my third time. I'd have a trilogy in Creator Clash and I'd have 3 first-round wins. That was my goal and that was my plan. I started training last November and now here in July, I'm finally on pause with training because Creator Clash 3 is completely done. And even though Creator Clash 3 isn't happening, there still is going to be an effort to raise some money for the charity.
What made Dad's critique especially cutting was that it didn't come from an outsider looking to score points, but from a former ally and participant. His words carried weight. If even those inside the Creator Clash family had lost faith, what argument was left for the loyalists still defending Ian? Barnett went further, issuing a direct challenge. he wanted to box Ian himself, framing it as a red panty night, the MMA slang for a lucrative career-defining bout. Dad suggested that fighting him could be Ian's last chance at redemption. The offer was both sincere and humiliating. A chance to settle things physically, but also a public acknowledgement that Ian's reputation had fallen so low, he needed a circus fight to restore it. Meanwhile, Dad's eccentric style took on symbolic weight. The surreal, almost nightmarish tone of his critiques mirrored the bizarre trajectory of Ian's own decline. By this point, the shift was undeniable. Even the loyal defenders had turned. To fans, to fighters, to peers, Ian and Anissa were no longer the scrappy underdogs who had turned influencer boxing into a charitable spectacle. They were seen as frauds, clinging to a collapsing empire, surrounded by enemies and critics who once called them friends. The Dad Challenge wasn't just another feud in a long list of feuds, it was the embodiment of how far Ian Carter had fallen, from a feared critic to a man being begged to fight for the chance to prove he still mattered. By 2025, the decline of Ian Carter was no longer speculation. It was visible in hard numbers, on camera, in every attempt he made to remain relevant. Once the YouTuber's YouTuber with millions hanging on his every upload, Ian's empire had withered to a shadow of its former self. The stats told the story plainly. Despite a channel boasting over 7 million subscribers, Ian's live streams now pulled barely 400 viewers. His uploads were reduced to minor curiosities at best and punching bags at worst. A recent video, Are You Scared of Immigrants?, was widely mocked as tone-deaf, directionless, and lobotomized. In a desperate bid to reclaim authority, Ian released a video titled Coming Clean. Rather than acknowledging his role in the damage, he used it to defend Anissa and double down on his existing narrative, that critics were overreacting, that the OnlyFans hate and creator clash controversies were unfair, that he was misunderstood.
Today, I'm going to be doing the thing that everyone tells you not to do, and that is feed the trolls. One of the more important things that I want to talk about is my relationship with Anissa. I love Anissa. I love everything about her. I've only grown to love her more with time, and a lot of people online don't see it that way. For me, it's very obvious. I thought more people would be able to catch on. I am quiet, stoic, not talkative. She is the opposite of that. She is loud, very talkative, social. People struggle.
Live appearances only deepen the embarrassment. On streams, Ian appeared awkward, low energy, and uncomfortable. A far cry from the quick-witted, self-assured presence of the content cop era. Fans mocked his delivery, noting how lifeless and drained he seemed compared to the ferocity that once defined him. Every attempt to engage came off as hollow, reinforcing the narrative that the old iDubbbz was gone for good. Meanwhile, his metrics bled out. Subscriber growth was negative month after month. The once proud creator clash, already battered by scandal, was postponed indefinitely. Its brand so toxic that even fighters no longer wanted to be associated with it. The arc was complete. Ian Carter had gone from the fearless critic who set YouTube's tone in the mid-2010s to the internet's favorite punching bag, a man undone by hypocrisy, feuds, and his inability to reconcile his past persona with his present choices. Where he had once wielded satire like a weapon, he now found himself on the receiving end of the same mockery, a relic of an older YouTube era who could no longer command respect. The collapse of iDubbbz was not a sudden implosion, but a slow, grinding erosion. One scandal, one betrayal, one bad video at a time, until there was nothing left but the ruins of a reputation.